Yeah, I said as a last class last week, I said we're going to start today with fire and print sharing. These are just some of the notes that I made and on my PowerPoint, and I still apologize again because I had everything set up, but unfortunately, I don't know what happened to my thing. When I came, everything was gone. Just a little piece of it was left. But pretty much going up here, we don't really have that much of like explanation. We have more of like the doing side, not really the practical side, not really the explanation part. But these are just some of the ways we can do file and print sharing. So file and print sharing is pretty much straightforward. As you can read here, the chapter discuss as we understand basically file and print sharing for Windows provides many ways to share files over and printers over the network without you without you being a connection. Like you can do wirelessly, you can do via connections. But typically we can have so many ways that we can share files. And I'm going to show you guys some of the ways that we can share files right now. Let me just go into the practical part because this node is pretty much not the one that we're looking for. 1 second, guys. I just have too many computers going on here, so stop sharing this one, and then let's share this system. Okay. All right. You guys can all see my screen, right? So first of all, who understand like exactly what file sharing really actually do? Like if somebody have any idea, you can give me like a brief description about it. Anyone? It's an open concept. I'm not going to call names right now until nobody gives me a clue first. Then we'll go from there. Can anyone give it a try?
Jonathan, is Jonathan here?
Yes, Jonathan is here.
Yeah, I'm here. All right, let me try. So file sharing is, what I'm thinking is maybe there is a file or a data on a server and a permission has been given to whoever is connected on that network to access that resource. So whichever server on that network that is able to access that resource or that file, then pretty much the person is sharing the file.
That is a good example as well. But with the file and print sharing that we're talking about, this is just mostly basically locally on your regular computer. Like right now, I have my laptop here. I don't have no server anywhere, but I want to share files with my other computer, or I want to share files with you, Jonathan, or maybe Ola or Jared, which he is on the same network as me. He's on the same Wi-Fi or the same local LAN in my apartment or in my building, or in just like a regular small office that we don't have a server anywhere. We just have like sharing documents from one laptop to another, from one computer to another. So these are some of the ways that you can share files without the access of the server. You don't necessarily need the server to share files at this point that we're talking about. This is just locally. But when as what your example you gave, which is a good example, that's when you're dealing with like a Fortune 500 companies, or like maybe capacity of like thousands and plus that have to do with servers. That's when a server comes in. But this is just like a concept of when we have just like a amount of, let's say, 50 people in a building, or 100 people, a capacity of 100. That's when you do this kind of like basic file and print sharing. So if I go here to my computer, I'll show you guys example of one that I already have shared with my other computer. So this is my other computer that I've shared right now. I have access to the computer. I've already set up mine already. So you guys can pretty much see. Let me just make you guys understand the difference. So if I go here, I just want to make you guys understand the difference of my two computers. So if you look here, the computer name of this device that I'm on right now, it says admin one. That is the computer that I'm just sharing the screen right now. And which is this one? It says here. So I have shared this device where I can have access to all the folders in here. I can get access to my folders and stuff and go in there and get stuff. And then if we go back, all the way back, this other one, the one that says admin, is my another laptop that is on my local network. That is not even this one. This one is the one that we're talking about right now, the one that I'm connected to, which is the device name is right here. And my other computer, I've been trying to remote into it. I don't know why it's not connecting. Let me see if I can get into that machine. I'll do student. Yeah, let me try to sign in as student because so right now I'm trying to connect. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to connect to my other laptop that I have on here, which is this one. That is the computer name of my other computer that I'm trying to sign into. So this is the computer it's trying to sign in right now. But now it's asking me for my password. I don't know if this is going to take effect. See, admin one. Yeah. I did this the other day, but for some reason, it won't connect. This is not introduced to the domain, right? Guys, just bear with me. I'm just trying to see if I can get access to my other computer. Okay. So computer name admin connect. I don't know why it's not letting me in. All right, we'll come back to that at some point because we're still gonna do remote desktoping. So I'll troubleshoot that afterward. I don't want to take too much time on that. But exactly what I'm trying to say is that I can access that since I already shared that on a laptop, and I'm still going to show you guys how to share it as well. This is my computer that I'm on right now, which is admin one right here. So it's a brief, that's just the name I'm differentiating from the other one. And this one is the other computer I was trying to connect to remotely, which wouldn't allow me to have some reason. But if I go into this computer, I can have access because I have shared in that other computer that I was trying to connect to. I already shared these folders, pictures, and I've given access to this computer that I'm on right now to be able to get pictures from that other computer. If I double click on here, it's going to let me in. I can see the pictures that are in there. These pictures are not on this computer. It's not on this computer. It's on my other computer, which says, if you can see the part here, it says admin, which is the other computer, not this one. Because this computer that I'm on right now is admin one. But I'm accessing documents from my other computer, which I already shared. And by you doing so, to share a folder from this computer to the other one, what I can do, you can go to if you go to I think it's settings, yes. Pretty much. I could just do file sharing. No, this is gonna open and fix problem instead. So I'll go into control panel. Sorry about this, just gotta minimize that. What is it? Let's put this down here. If you go on networking and sharing right here. So when you click on networking and sharing, you go right here, you go to change advanced sharing. So let me go back there. When you go on you go in control panel, networking and sharing center. You go to change advanced sharing. And when you come in here, you have to make sure you turn on. It says turn on automatically set up network connection. That one is already automatically going to be on. There are actually three groups in here. You have the private, which is your current profile. You have guest public or public. Then you have all networks. So underneath all those three, you have to make changes. If I go under here, you see where it says turn on file and printer sharing. That has to be on. If I turn this off, any other machine that's on my network cannot access no file from my computer. That's the first step. The second one is this second branch right here. If you go down here, it says turn on network discovery. When I turn on this network discovery, other computers can see my computer, which was this process that I showed you guys right here. If you go on the network, it's going to tell you all computers are on my network, which is this one and this one, because I turn on this network discovery. If I turn this off and I save changes, if I go back to files, go to network, and if I do a refresh, everything is gone. Oh, I think I didn't complete the setups. Let's go back, change. Oh, it's for all network instead. So this one is turned on. Let's see, guess turn off. And this one. So it says turn on, you see where it says turn on sharing to any, so anyone with network access can read and write files in the public folder. If I turn this off, if anybody log on this computer, he's not going to be able to access any files. And if we go down all the way down here, this one is turn off password protection for sharing. That means if I turn on this password protection for sharing a file, if you try to access, you'll be able to see a folder or a file like this on my network. If I go back here on this admin, you'll be able to see a folder like this. But when you try to open it, it will not give you access. It will ask you for credentials for you to sign in and get access to that. Let me do it on my other computer, which in a moment, let me see. I'm thinking of other way that I can share this computer so you guys can see my other computer here. Excuse me. Okay, pictures was the one I shared. If I go to pictures. So just so you guys know, that's another way to turn on so another network and discover your file and print sharing on your computer. Let's say if you want to share, if you can share a folder, but you can ask to give people access to them for them to access that folder. So this is the process by you doing so, to give somebody access for the person to view that folder. You go here into this network configurations, minimize all this. So first of all, your private one, you turn on this. So if I turn off this, save settings, and I go back to my file right here, you see it says network and print sharing is turned off. So even if I get access to this, people will not be able, somebody else on that comes on my network will not be able to access any document on in here. Only I'm the only one that can do it. But just until when I give the person access from here, I have to turn on this. This one has to be on. And let's see, that's guest. Personal. This one is turned on. Let's go. Oh, that's private. Okay. Let me check guest. Guest is turned off. I turn on guest. And then all other networks. So this one is turned on, which is correct. That one always stays default. So password protection, I don't want to put that password protection because that's when you're sharing a file and then you don't want people to get access to. We're going to come back to this. But if I want to share a file so my other computer can see it, like you see now, if I go into this computer, I see the folder that I shared earlier. Let me go on my other computer and turn off the sharing process for this. And when I come back here and I refresh, you will not see this folder anymore. So if I go to my other computer, I go to sharings, advanced sharings. Okay, let's see if that's the right one. Okay. So now you see it's gone because I stopped sharing that folder from my other computer. And if I go back to that other computer and share that same folder again, it's going to come back with a different name because I can rename it from this end. And I'm going to show you guys how to do that. This time it's going to come back because I changed the name to save pictures. So if I do apply, do okay, close, and I refresh this computer, that is the file that the folder that I just shared. And from my other computer, I can set permissions on this folder that not everyone can access. You can only access, you can view stuff in it. You can make changes. You cannot make changes. So let me show you how to do that to share a folder. And we're going to see from the other computer. So in this this is my PC right now, this one.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Does, let's say you shared a folder or a file and I want to participate in the share, right?
Yes.
Do I need to turn on file and print sharing on my system to be able to access the share you just shared?
Yes, that is why I was showing you this step right here. That's where you do all that from here. You do it from here because if you don't turn on file and print sharing from your system, you won't be able to even pick up anything from the network. You cannot pick up no, if anybody shares a file, if your file and print sharing is not turned on, you won't be able to access anything. That's why when I turn off mine here, it gave me a notification when I open a folder. Yep, turn off this, save settings. If I open here, let's go back. This is networking. I have to turn off all of them. So private, this one is turn on, turn off network discovery. Turn off file and print sharing. I can leave network discovery on for people to see my system, but they won't be able to see, I won't be able to see files and stuff. So that is turned off. Close. I think I missed one. This one's turned off. Turn off. Okay. Let me see guests. Guest was still on. Oops. Turn on network discovery. It's private. Turn off, okay. Save changes. So you see how you see the error message I get? You see your network discovery is turned off. So now I cannot pick up anything from this network because why? I turn off network and file and print sharing. If I click OK here, it says it's gonna do. It says network and file print sharing turn off. For me to change that, I can click here and go directly there, turn on, or I can go to the network center as well. So now I turn it on. If we go back in here, you see there must have been changes. You see now it's turned on in your private sector. So if I turn it off again and save changes, we go back to this folder, refresh. It's gonna still give me that error message just because I turned off the discovery. So it cannot pick up anything. When you turn that off, it's not gonna pick up any device that is sharing, any device that's being shared on your network. It's not gonna pick up anything until you turn on your file and print sharing right here. If you go back in here, this one is turned off, and that's under private and current profile. So if I drop it down, this is under private, which is your current profile. You go on there, turn it on. I can turn off file and print sharing for now. Save. So what I just did was now my computer, if any other device that's on this network, like this machine, if he can pick up my own machine on the other device, he will not be able to access any file that are in my current machine. That means the other device, which is this one, will not be able to access any file on this machine because why? I've turned off file and print sharing. And if you see here, it keeps giving you the error message. It says file sharing is turned off. Network computers and devices might not be visible for changes. So if you want to change, I can click on that error message directly here and do the changes. Or you can still go through control panel and go to change advanced settings, because that's where you see all the whole console. But if I do from here, it's just going to do the switch automatically without even me going to control panel. So if I click change here, I can do open network and file and print sharing, which is still going to bring me back to this part. Or I can just do turn on network and discovery. So if I do turn on, it's going to put it on. If we go back into control panel, you're going to see that this is turned on. That's for guess. So it's been turned on, but here it's still going to show. Let me put on this one back. This one is off. That's guessed. Private. So network is turned on. File and print sharing is being turned on, but here it's still going to show off, which can see share files. But each time you restart your machine and come back, it's still going to keep going off. It's going to give you that error message again, because you're just turning it on temporarily at that moment. If you click on that error message that popped up here, that's just turning on temporarily. But if you want to keep it permanently, you have to go all the way into control panel and turn it on from here. If I put it on, save changes. That is for my profile, current profile right now. And I can still do it on all networks. This one is just a password, so that one doesn't count right here. So if I do turn on, it says there, it's even reading there. It says when this public file is folder sharing is on, people on your network, including home group members, can access file and public folders. So it pretty much gives you a definition of what you're doing right there. It's not something, it's not like it's a straightforward thing. It tells you what you're doing. That's why they have those little notes to tell you what you're doing. It has different ones here. This one's a media streaming. You can choose a media that you want to stream over your network and share the media right here. It's going to share that media with anybody that's on that same network to be able to stream. Let's say if you want to share a movie or a video, That's exactly what you're going to do. This one is just a bit sharing and encryption, which is a whole different subject on its own. This one is just for password protection. Like if you want to put password protection, if anybody trying to access a file on my computer, it's going to ask them for credentials. And that's now when you're dealing now with like a domain and a company. Because when you're at a company, they give you a credentials. You have a credential, a login name and password. When you try to access file for somebody else's computer, and that's for security reason, in the case that if you access that folder and you messed it up, for them to trace whoever was the last person in that folder and messed up the folder, they go now by your credential that you logged in into that folder. Because each time if you click on that folder, it's going to ask you for your credentials. And when you sign in with your credentials, there's a backup file they call a log file. As you logged in with your credentials on that folder, it captures your login and save it, the time, the date that you logged in, and your login information. So it captures it and save it in a log file, which you don't have access to. Those are like that's for security. People that do ISPN, that file goes to them. They call them ISPN, Internet Security Protocol for the company. So that login file now goes to them. That's when if you have an issue, like let's say somebody messed up a file or somebody copied a file from a company and try to steal information, it's going to ask you for your credential. Yes, you might have the credential for the company, but you're stealing information from the company and saving it in your own personal computer. And that's how they can trace you to know that you were the one that was stealing that information, by going into that login file, that log file, and trace who was the last person that logged into that file at a certain time. Because until somebody else logged in after your credentials, no log is going to be created. The last log that's going to be created is going to be your login. And that's how they're going to know that this was the last person that logged in at 4:55 or at 12:55 or at 10:15. That's how they're going to trace you and know that, yes, this was the last person that logged in and this person was the one that copied the file. And they're going to come straight to you, be like, okay, you were the last person that logged into this file. What did you do into that folder? We're missing this document. What was the last thing you did in there? So that's how they know that you were the one that was logged in there, because they will go by your credentials. Your credentials is going to pop up it's going to log into that log file for them to see it. And that's why now this password comes in. That's the reason why they put this password protection. But me, I turn it off because why? I just have my local network. So I'm just doing it from my house. But when you go to companies, you see that this one is turned on just for protection.
Okay, Kingsley, can I make a comment?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so at work, I just want to comment that at work, let's say I'm working on a ton of files and I've created so many files, and I'm doing some work that I want to share the work with Roland, for example, and I created a ton of files and I created a folder and I put the files in the folder. So I want to share that folder with Roland. I have to go to Network and Sharing Center and enable file and print sharing. And then Roland on his own computer also enables file and print sharing for him to be able to see the folder that I just shared. And his access to the folder is going to be based on the permissions that I set on the folder, right? Kingsley, are you there?
Yes.
Am I on track or am
Yeah. You definitely. That's why I didn't give no comment.
Okay. So I can still share a folder with Roland or anybody else in the company. And I decide that, okay, even though you see the folder, I'm not giving you access permission. So you will still be able to see that folder on the network, but you will not be able to access because I have denied access permission to that folder, correct?
Yes, you can see the folder. You can set permission, and I'm going to go into that part because you can set permissions, and you can set permission for everyone to view that folder. They can only view stuff in there, but they cannot make no changes. You cannot edit the folder. You can only view. So I'm going to show you guys that permission, how to do that as we go forward. I'm just trying to access my other machine. I don't know why it's not getting access.
I have a question.
Yes.
How you said, okay, your two computers, and one is trying to access the other information from the other computer. How do you see Okay, fine. I have my computer. Mr. Jared has his computer, and we want to share a file. And I enable my file sharing, and he also enables his file sharing. And he wants to share the folder to me. So how do I see it?
That is why I was showing you right here. This is where you enable everything. For you to be able to see any device on your network, which is going to be here. You see how I say network here?
Yes.
This network is just where you access any devices, you search for any devices on your network.
Okay,
like
any
right
device
now,
that is on the network.
Yes,
okay.
On that network, that's the network that you guys are in. Like right now, this is my house. These are the devices that are sharing on my network. These are my two computers right here. This one is my router. That's on the network. I can access my router, but it's going to ask me for credentials as well to log into the router, which that's a whole different Cisco certified. It's another process.
So,
but this
when
one is
you
just
turn on network discovery,
yes,
under file and print sharing in the network sharing center, it's gonna enable all devices within your local area network to be discovered, right?
yes.
It's gonna make all the devices discoverable. Okay.
Right here, this is what it says right here. It says network discovery right here. So if I turn this off,
okay, it's just like when you put on your Bluetooth, you discover all the
you see any devices that are around your area, around you.
Okay.
But this one, when it comes to file and print sharing, it only sees the devices that are on that same network.
On that same network.
Yes, so it cannot be like me, I'm here, Gerard is in Texas, and I turn on my file and print sharing here. I'm not going to see any file with Gerard until Gerard is in my environment.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
I have a question.
So you cannot use file and print sharing to share files across two different local area networks. Right?
That's why I mentioned from the beginning that this is just a local area network file and print sharing.
Correct.
It's not a wide area network, because wide area, that's when you start dealing now with servers.
Okay. It's not NFS.
Yes.
Okay.
You start dealing with NFS. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question is it possible with all the network settings that you perform on your device, can you access other computers that are on your network? Is it possible?
That is what we're doing right here. You see how I access my other computers that are on here? On that other computer too, if they have not given you that permission for you to access stuff on there. Like if I go on this computer, I have shared this folder from my other computer, not this one that I'm on right now. This is my other computer on my network that I'm accessing. And also in that other computer, I have turned on network discovery, file and print sharing. I did all the same settings that I did on this computer. I did everything the same way. That is why I'm able to access this computer. I can sign into this computer. Right now, I'm in that other computer, and this is the folder that I shared. This one is always going to be open because this is the user's account. It's always going to be there. It shows you everything in your OneDrive and everything. You can still go through the user account, but the same folder that I'm just showing you guys right now, you see this save folder? This is the one that I shared from that other computer, which is right here. It's right here. So I can share this folder. I can make changes on this folder. Go to properties. I can go to security. You see, these are the users that have access to that this folder that I just shared. And mean, which is the original computer of that other the main person of that computer. And everyone is like anybody that access that shared folder. That's for everyone. I can make changes here. I can go to edit. Like right now, it says, if you see here, these are the permissions that they have. They have read permission. They have list folder content, which is it just means for you to open the folder up and see what is in there. They have read and execute. That means you can make changes in the folder. But I can go on that other computer, my other computer, and make changes that everyone that accesses that file, they can only have read permission. They can only see the file, but they cannot make no changes. Let me just do that while I have you guys here, so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I'll close this first, because when I make the changes, let's go back. Let's stay on this level. So let me go back to that folder on my other computer. You know what, Jared? I'm gonna quit my other computer so I can sign in to Zoom on my other computer, so you guys can so I can share the screen that you guys see exactly what I'm doing. So leave this one. 1 second, let me just join on the other computer. Do Zoom here. Okay. There's the ID again. 402 401 97. Oops. 471. All right, Jared, can you give me a permission to that account? Just give me a share. Oh, gotta go because I'm getting feedbacks.
Go ahead, you all said.
All right, thanks. So I'm gonna stop sharing from this computer so I can share the other screen. You guys can see my other computer because it won't allow me to share. All right, let me share my desktop. So this is my other computer that I'm logging in. Let me just show you the computer name so you guys see the difference. Okay, so I'm sharing here. So if I go properties here, you see the computer name of this one says just admin. So this is a totally different computer that I'm in right now. And that's the computer where I was sharing my files from. And the folder that I shared from this computer was this folder. So if I go in here, I go to pictures, and this was the folder that I shared. So if you see in here, these are all the stuff that I showed you guys from the other computer. These are all the stuff. If I go to this folder, for me to know that this folder is being shared with other people, I can right click on it, go to properties. You go to sharing, and I go to advanced sharing. You see how this one is checked? It says check. It's checked here.
Is there any way to make it bigger? It's it looks too small.
Okay, let me see. I think I can zoom. Oh, you know what? Let me move it to the. Let me do this. I'm going to share the other screen so that might be bigger from there. Stop sharing the screen. Oops. Okay. So let me close. I'm going to close all this, and I'm going to carry this over here. You guys can see that better, right? Is that better?
Yes.
All right. So if I go to this, I go to properties. Is that better now?
Yes, it is.
Okay. So go to sharings. You go to advanced sharing. Click on advanced sharing. You see how it's checked here. This one is checked. That means this folder is being shared. Let me just do an example with this one. This one that says camera roll. If I right click on it, I go to its own properties. If I go to sharing and I go to advanced sharing, it's not checked. That means this folder is not being shared with anybody. That's just to show that this folder is not being shared. This is the only folder that's been shared on the network, which is this. Let me close this. Close. So if I right click on this one and go to properties, you see how it's being shared. If I take this off and I go now, I do apply, I go to my other computer, I will not find the folder anymore. I'm not going to find the folder on my other computer, but if it's checked, once it's checked right now, you can make changes in here. So I can change the name of the file and put it to a certain name that I'm going to give to people. I can put a comment in there. I can put a limitation of number of of users that can access the file. I just put 20. I can put one person. I can put 2. I can put 15 in there. Then this is where you set permissions. It says permissions. If I click on permissions now, you see what I've given to the file, just a read control of the file. That's the access that I gave. I can give full control of the file that everybody can make any changes. You can do editing, you can modify the file for everyone. That's for everyone. I can add people in there. I can add my other computer, which is admin 1, but right now that computer is not on, I don't have a domain. So this is when you deal with a domain. If I was on a domain, I'll just go here, put the name, I do check. It's not going to give me anything because I don't have a domain yet. I've not introduced this computer to a domain, which that has to come with Active Directory. That's what when we do that, you see that I can find this name on my domain, because once this computer is connected to domain and my other computer is connected to my domain, if I search this name, I'll be able to find it from Active Directory because it's part of it. But right now I cannot see because this computer is not introduced to any network and it's not on any domain. It's just on a regular work group. So this is where you can add people. I can come here, I can add a user. I can search the user's name, just you can put the first name or the last name. If you don't know the person's complete full name, or you don't want to type all the complete full name, you could just put the first name in here, then you click check. It's going to give you a list of everybody that has that same full name, first name, and their last names. So that's where you can find it. Or you can just type the person's complete name in here and do check. If you can find that person's complete name, it's just going to give you the name in here with underlining. So if I do everyone, because everyone is part of this computer, if I do check, I don't type it, I don't think. Okay, you see how it came out with an underline? You see I came out with an underline underneath, that means it was able to find that name in there. So if I do okay, that is it in there. I can remove, let me remove this. If I do add, I do everyone. I can just do every. I don't have to do everyone completely, and I do check. You see it corrected automatically? That means everyone is part of this computer. That name that I typed there is part of this computer. If I do okay, I can do add. I can do admin. If I do check, it's going to find admin because admin is the name of this computer. But it's not going to find admin 1 because admin 1 is my other computer, which they are not on the same domain. So if I do okay, I've added admin in here too as well to be able to access this file. I can set permission for everyone that they have just read permission only. By you doing so, you just check the box. I can do changes. They can make changes. I mean, everyone can make changes. You have to highlight the users first of all. When you highlight, if I highlight admin, admin has his own permissions. I can give admin full control to this file, but I can go to everyone and give everyone no control. They cannot even read the folder at all. But admin has full control of it. I can uncheck admin, full control and give admin just changes. Admin can do just changes and read because they have to go together. You should be able to read the file and make changes. If I go to everyone, everyone has nothing. So I can set everyone to just read. They can only read the file. They cannot make changes. You cannot copy anything out of the file. You cannot modify anything from that folder. And you can do the same too with a file, not just a folder. You can make changes to. You can set settings on a folder as file as well. So I can remove admin from here, leave just everyone. So anybody that's accessing this folder, they will be able to read the file that's in there, but they cannot make no changes and they don't have full controls. And when you go now, when you start doing, when you go like into a big corporations, you're gonna see there's gonna be more permissions down here. You're gonna see read and write. You're gonna see read only. You're gonna see many other options down here as well. This one I've given them read and write here. I can do deny. I can deny them changes. I can deny them read. That means I've given them allow. You see how it says allow on this column and it says deny on this column. Now I've denied them read and write permission. They cannot read, they cannot change this. Nothing they can do in that folder. But if I put this read only, I can do the apply. Okay. If we go now to my other computer, you'll be able now to make changes. Well, let me just do this. So let me deny permission to everyone from that folder. So I'll deny read, apply. Yep. Okay. Okay. And apply. Okay, close. All right, let me stop sharing from this computer and go back now to the other one. We are back now on the other computer, so this is my other computer. You see the difference? This one, just to make sure you guys understand the difference of this computer, I'll just show you the computer name. So the computer name for this one is admin1 right here. So we're in admin1 right now. If I go now to this, my other admin, because this is admin1, which is my present computer, and admin now is my other computer that I'm able to have access to. If I double click on there, it's gonna open. This is the folder that we're just working on, that I denied read permission. If I double click on it, it's gonna tell me Windows cannot access this shared document because why? I have denied read permission. So nobody can read that file. You can only see the folder, but you cannot read the content of it. Because why? I have denied permission for anybody to read anything in this folder. And I can assign permission just to specific people. I can create that folder, set permission on it, and assign it just to, okay, I can say, instead of everyone can see the folder, but they cannot access it. Then I can set that Gerard can be able to access that folder and make changes too. That's why you see in a company, they have the finance department, they have HR department, and HR department, they have all their own folders and files that they have access to. Any other user on that company cannot access those folders. Only somebody that works at the HR department can access that. Same goes with finance. Those are the permissions that you set on folders. Finance department, they have their own files and folders that only anybody from finance department can access, except somebody from HR that has connection with finance, that has to do, maybe you can do legal department. Anybody that work in legal department in your company, they can be able to access both finance files and HR files because they work in the legal department. So they need access to those folders to be able to take information from here and add it with this information from here, to be able to see information from finance department regarding somebody else and add it with something that they have to do with in HR department. So that's how it works. You can set permission for IT department that, okay, only people that are in IT department can access these folders. That's now when we go into Active Directory, because that's in Active Directory, that's where you create users account, you create group accounts, you create like that's where you create group and users account. Because group account now deals with like IT group. When you create IT group account, you include everybody in IT department in that group. And then you set policies to that IT group that anybody in IT group can access this shared folder. Anybody that's not in that IT group cannot access that shared folder. You said that anybody in HR department group can access this folder. If you're not in HR department group, you cannot access that folder. So those are the things that has to do now when you start coming to like big companies and when we set up Active Directory and domains and stuff like that before the end of today. I will no, Windows servers first today, then we'll do Active Directory tomorrow. But when we do that, you guys are gonna understand more the concept of what is happening here. But for right now, I just canceled the file. I denied access to read that file. But let me go give access back to that file so we can be able to see what is in here. But you can still see this file. If you go here, you cannot access the file from here. You can still go through here. I can access the file from here, this same folder here, if I know where the location is. Because I can go here. This is the user account of admin. I can double click on here. I go to admin, OneDrive, pictures, because that's the only folder that I've shared. That's why you can see just pictures. But if I share any other folder that is under admin's account, or if I share all the folders, you're gonna see all of them in here. You're gonna see pictures, camera roll, and all the other stuff. So if I double click on pictures, the save folder is right here. If I double click on it, I can see all the content of it. Let me just change the view so you can see. So this is the content of that folder. I can do it by this way. But if I go on my other computer, stop sharing here. Sorry guys, I gotta do it this way because my remote desktop is acting up today, but I will set it up before the end of today, tomorrow, so everything can be set. So if I share now from this computer, this is admin, just the admin. This is not admin one. You can tell from the backgrounds. You see the background is different. The other one has my other picture just to differentiate. So right now I have just this folder that has no permission. So the other way that I went through to get access to this folder, because I didn't have access to, was through the user's account, which is via here. If you go under this PC, you right click, you double click on a local computer. You see where it says user. If I set permission on this user too, I can set permission on this user. I go advanced. You see how it's being shared? That user's account is being shared. I can stop this user account from being shared. I do apply. And I do okay. Close. Let me stop sharing here. Then we go back now to admin one. This is admin one right now. You can tell from the background, it's different. So if I go in here, you see how the folder has gone away? Right now I have admin right here. If I double click on it, I'm only going to see this shared folder. The other one that says user is gone. If I go now to this admin one, which is my current computer, I double click on it, you're going to see user, because that folder is automatically being shared without you change. You can make changes on that folder for it not to be shared. I can go onto this PC, local computer, user. I change the permission to as well. Go on that sharing. You guys see what I'm doing, right? If you have any question anywhere, you can stop me at any point and ask. If you're not understanding something.
I have
so
a
I can
question.
go. Yes, go ahead.
When you share devices, does it use the storage of the primary device? Like when you share
No. So yeah, that's a good question, Jarvis. So instead, if this my current computer now is almost full, right? If I have access to this, let's go back to where's the other one? Okay. So let me just close this. So you see how on the network, I have access to admin and I have access to admin one. If I had full control of this folder right here from the other computer, I can start saving stuff from my computer onto this folder. It's not going to save on my local machine. It's going to save on the other machine that I have over there. That's why it's going to be taking the space of that other machine, not my current machine. So that's me trying to like maximize space on my computer by saving on a backup computer. I can use my other computer as a backup computer to save all my documents there, just so I don't have problem in the long run. And we're going to get into RAID, which has something to do with this too as well. When we get into RAID, you guys are going to understand what it has to do with it. It's called redundancy. That's you're trying to minimize compromisation. Like say during the process of like you have an outage on your current computer and you lost all your documents. If you save part of your documents on the other computer, now you have a copy of it on that other computer. That means you have a copy of that those documents on the other computer. But the one that's on your current computer is missing. Like what happened to my my PowerPoint? If I had this backed up on another device, I wouldn't have been facing these difficulties right now. But for some reason, I forgot to do it because, I mean, I have so much going on right now. But I mean, that's nothing to do with it. I just forgot to save.
Okay.
On a different. Yes.
So I have a remark to make, and then I have a question to ask.
Okay.
Right. So my remark is that what Kingsley is doing today is very, very important. As part of your daily activities at work, you will be tasked to set permissions and assign different permissions
to different groups,
to different folders and files based on who has what permission or who is in what department. This is what you'll be doing on a daily basis.
Right.
Someone might call IT department and say, I need access to this file or I need access to this folder. Right. That's going to be your job. You know, right. So if you guys have like shared network drives, then you will be the one to go to those drives and be setting these permissions based on how the files and folders are being shared. So IT department controls this. So this is very important. So you guys should really pay attention to it. The second question I have, Kingsley.
Yes.
I've been at work and I see people sharing, creating folders and sharing, and actually creating network drives and have other people map into those network drives.
That is what I was about to go to.
Access certain files and folders.
Right.
So how is it different from the normal sharing that you just went through right now?
So remember, like sharing a network drive is different from sharing a folder.
So because I've actually seen them creating network drives and then having users map to those network drives, set permissions on the network drives to access folders and files.
So the difference with that is that when it comes to bigger companies, network drive has to do with many folders. A network drive has many folders in them. But this one, you're just simply setting a permission just to a certain folder. So a network drive can include all these folders in here, all these folders. And I can set different permission on different folders in that network drive. So for instance, let me say I have this. I can set a network drive which can be it's like a folder as well. But it has multiple folders in it with different permission. So I can consider my C drive right here to be a network drive. I can map this network drive to somebody else, but I don't have a sample right now on here. I have it on my work computer. If you want, I can show you guys on my work computer, but it's going to be a whole process because I have to connect to the other computer and get into it. But when you share a network drive, it's going to appear down here on a different network. By doing so, you can share a network drive by right-clicking here, go to a map network drive. Click on that.
Senior Kingsley, is it possible to show us tomorrow so that at least we can actually?
I can show you. I can show you today.
Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Okay, I think Kingsley, I think you can create a folder and then actually
map it. That's what I'm trying to do.
Exactly.
So let me map it right now
into a network drive and have someone map to that folder.
All right, let me do.
So if I understand you clearly,
yes.
With the network drive, it's all about volume. Like you can move a lot of folders at once. And this one is basically like just a single folder.
No, the thing that you set permissions on a network folder and you can set permission on a network drive. That means you can make a network drive in a form that different people from different departments can access that network drive and be able to access certain folders in that network drive. Because I can say, okay, let me put this as an example, even though this is my C drive, right? I can consider this to be a network drive. You from IT department, you can be able to access this network drive. Me from HR department, I can be able to access this network drive. Jarvis from finance department can be able to access this network drive. But in this network drive, Jarvis is accessing this network drive to go to a finance folder. You are accessing that network drive to go to an IT folder. Me, I am accessing that network drive to go to an legal department folder in there. You that is you're gonna access that network drive, you'll be able to see a finance folder, you'll be able to see a legal department folder, you'll be able to see an IT department folder, but you only have access. You only have access just to IT department folder. You don't have access to the other one, except somebody from the IT department give you access to a finance folder that, yes, Curtis can be able to access this finance folder to get information, because your name, more probably your title in the company maybe has something to do with the finance department, and they've sent your information, went through legal department and HR department to be like, okay, this person can access this folder to see stuff, because if anything happened in that folder, because when it comes to finance folder, it has everything to do with money in the company and how things goes. So if something happens in that folder, they know that you are one of the persons that they start tracking. You and the other people, yes, it's gonna be like that. That's how they do stuff. So they only give permission to people that are authorized to have access to that certain folder and drives. But you can create a network drive in the company just because you're trying to minimize spaces. That's why now they have a file server. You have a file server in a data center where you use just for network sharing and mapping of drives. Like one file server can have about 300 drives on it, but they're all mapped for different purposes. So let me say, as Gerald was saying, let me see if we can create a folder in here. I'll just do, what can I do? Map one. Let's just do map one. All right. Let me go here, network now, map to a drive. So I can browse here. Where did I create an admin one? So this is the map one. You see how it appears here? I can map this drive now so people can be able to access that drive. I map it right there. So this is going to be the path that you give to somebody. This is the part of it where if you want to give this part to somebody. It says reconnect as signed in. Okay, connect using different credentials. I can set that to be connect using different credentials or reconnect to us as sign in. So I'll do finish. It's set up to be Z. It's going to open. So if I click here, now you see that that's a drive right there. I can double click in that drive. There's nothing in there. I can create a folder in there. Let me create a folder. It says destination folder access denied. You need permissions to perform this action because why? I haven't given permission to myself. And for me to give permission for me to access that drive, since I was the one that created the drive, I can go here. What is it? This PC. Oh, it was under users. So if I go under C, users, it's right here. I'll right click on this folder. I go to properties. I go to let's see. Okay, security. I go under security. It says everyone. Then it has me in here as a user. If I click on there, you see I don't have full control to it. If I want to do edit, I'll edit. I go to me, which is here, and I do full control. It gives me full access to that folder. That means I can modify stuff. I can read and execute files in there. I can list folders content. That means view folder content. I can read contents of that folder. And it goes down 4. I can set special permissions, but those special permissions are ones that you don't have access to. On somebody else have that can set that up for you, and that's a whole different process. But these are the ones that you're going to see on your daily basis, right? Read, list content, which are grayed out because those ones comes automatically. Execute, those are automatically when you set them full control. Modify, those are the ones that can make changes. I can take out full control permission. I'm only going to have this limited access, which is going to be modify, read, execute, list folder, read. But I can also deny for somebody to be able to read that folder by clicking on deny right here. You see, it's going to give you now, it's going to deny all these executions. You cannot be able to do any of this. But if I go up here and uncheck them, you make sure you always give them the right permission for the folder. When I uncheck them, now I have under allow, I click full control and I do apply. Okay. And okay. If I go back now to that network drive right here, I can double click in there, open in there, there's nothing in there. I can right click, I can create new folder. This says I have no permission to modify. Oh, okay. Cancel. Let's go back. I think I have to do it on the drive itself. Security. Okay, right here.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That
yeah,
you can set the permission directly on the drive.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing on the drive right now. So I go on the drive and I go to myself, which is admin 1, because it's this current machine. Everyone is anybody that's trying to access that folder. If you go on everyone, if you highlight on everyone, the permissions appears down here. You see how everyone doesn't have full control? Anyone can access that drive, but you cannot modify anything. The only thing you can do in here is read and execute, list a folder. That means you can view a folder and you can read the folder, but you cannot make no modifications. But if I go under myself, I have full control right here. Let's see if I have full control, right? Full control. Okay. Okay. Let's see this one. Yep. So those two has full control. Let me check. Okay. So I do add. So admin. Let's see if it has full control as well. So I give full control to that.
Senior Kingsley.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, please. One quick question. So what is the difference between giving permission to read and execute? No, like pretty much what's the difference between giving permission to execute a file and write a file? Are they the same?
So execute is like, let's say if it was a script file, if you had a script file, if somebody who's doing like scripting and Java and other stuff, somebody can write a script and put it in that folder for the other person to be able to access that script and modify it and then run the script. But you say read and execute, that's when the person can read that folder, that a file and execute and run the script for it to run. But if you take out that permission, The person can only read the file, but he's not going to be able to execute the file. When you try to execute it, it's not going to run because the original owner of that file has put a permission that you can only view the file, but you cannot use it somewhere else. Just because the person don't want you to use his information to run your own script or for you to build your own script to run it. So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, just to add to that, Jonathan. So yeah. Jonathan, a script is a file, right? A script is simply a file that has a set of instructions to do something. So you can create a file and then you use some kind of scripting language to, let's say you want to copy data from here and go and dump the data there. So you want to do some kind of backup. And you go into that file and you put some commands in there and you save the file. So the file is going to become a script and it has permissions to do it has instructions to do some kind of backup. But that script is not going to run if you don't give the script execute permission. However, if you have read permission, you can open the script and you're able to read whatever you wrote in the script, whatever instructions you wrote in the script, that's going to be read permissions, right? But for that script to run and execute itself, it needs to have execute permission. Right. If you don't set execute permission, the script is never going to run. It's just going to stay there as a file.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out why that let's see. Let me see if this is gonna do the trick. All right, it's telling me I don't have permission. You need permission to perform this action. I think I have to give permission on this network drive. Let's see. Guys, bear with me. I'm just trying to figure out why I won't be able to. Me myself cannot. Let's see. How would I create something and it's telling me access denied? That's funny, right? And that's where your troubleshooting skill comes in.
That is icy right there.
Yep. This is where your troubleshooting skills, you start finding where the problem is. And it might just be something minor, but we're not just seeing it. Okay, full control. All right, I think I have to give my special permissions. Let's see. Cancel, so advanced. Okay, principal, let's see. Parent object, parent object, parent object, parent object, inherit. Yeah, I don't know why it's not allowing me to say replace a child object permission entries with the inherited permission.
I think we can figure it out during break. You just continue.
Yeah, okay. But let me just continue. So
break time.
Yeah, I'll just continue from there. But this is how you can share. You can share a folder. I mean, you can map a drive. You guys saw how I mapped the drive, right? Did anybody have a question about that? Can someone just give me a walk down, a real like a step that you're gonna take to map a drive?
Kingsley, honestly, we didn't really catch it the way you mapped the drive.
Kingsley, I think you created the drive, but I think the part for mapping the drive went so fast. If you can go through
all right,
the mapping part of the drive.
So to map a drive, right? If you ask in the interview, that's to map a drive. I'm gonna say it first before I do it. So to map a drive, if somebody asks you like, oh, okay, how do you map a network drive? You can just tell them simply, you open a File Explorer. You can go to networking. You just right click on the network right here. It's gonna, you see right here, right click on this. It's gonna say here, right there, map a drive. And you can connect and also you can disconnect to a drive. If there's a drive that's already been mapped, you can disconnect a network drive. I can disconnect a network drive right here, which is the only one. Click on it, do okay. It's gonna disconnect. That's me taking off a drive. And to map on a network drive as well, you can do it here as well. This is just choose a custom network drive right here. Browse. This is a longer process, but I don't want to go with this process. But the easiest way to do it is just right click on network icon, do map a network drive. You can map it from here. You can change the drive name. You can make it to be drive E, drive K, drive R, drive S, drive A, B, C. But notice C is not in here. Why? Can someone tell me why there's no C in here?
Because it's already taken.
Yes, you're right, Mr. Jonathan. C automatically is taken by your local hard drive. You can see here, right here, it says C. That one automatically is being taken. And if you assign another drive to any number in here, if I assign drive A and I go browse, if I already know the part of the drive, you see how they give an example? You can put example, the server name, then the share drive that you want to share. But if I don't know that drive name, I can go from here. But if there was a drive that you already mapped to before and then it got disconnected at some point, if you click on this drop-down menu, you see how it appears here? Because I already mapped to that drive before. But if I don't know, if you click down here, you cannot find the drive that, if it's a new drive that you're trying to map to and then you've never mapped to that drive before, you can go browse to the system. So I have systems in here. I can see both my systems which are being shared. Like you guys see, remember when I was doing the file and print sharing? This is my other system, which is my other computer, the admin. Then admin one, which is my current computer right now. If I want to map a drive from that other computer, I can double click on it. So long as I have permission to all the files that are being shared in there, or the drives that are being shared in there. Once you click on this admin, it's going to show you all the drives that are being shared. But I cannot map to this drive. Why? Because I took out my permission from here. If I click on this, I will not be able to. It tells me still I don't have access because why? I took out the permissions from the other computer. So I don't have any read or modify or anything to that file. I cannot map to it. But I can go now to my local computer, which is this one. These are the folders that are being shared. The only two folders that are being shared. This one is always being shared by default. And this one is the one that I created and are being shared. So if I go on this one, if there were other folders in here, like this one, you see how it has more folders in here, but this one does not have a folder in here. This one is because I shared it. If I go here, if I go back to this folder, user mapping, it's because I shared this folder. That's why I can see it twice in there. If I go to sharing, advanced sharing that I showed you guys earlier, I uncheck this. I do okay, okay, close. And let me minimize this. And if I come back here, now you see it's gone. It only appears in one place. Before, there were two of them in here. You could see the map one because I was sharing it as well. But now you cannot see it anymore. You can only see user, which you can see go there, you will find the map one. And that, if I wanted to share this one, I can share it. If I want to share student one, I can share student one because that's another user account. I can share this one as well. Let's share student. I can map to student, or I can make a new folder. You can still create a new folder in here and share it as well. But I want to share just map one. I'll do map one, I do okay. So it's connect to web site that, no, we don't need all that. And all I'm just gonna do now is hit finish. The drive has been mapped and it's gonna open up. It's gonna tell me I don't have permission, the correct permission to do modification in here because that's what I'm still gonna figure out afterwards during break time. But if I go now to this PC, it's going to show me that I have 2 drives right now. This one is the one I've been mapped to. That's the one we just mapped right here. And you see how the letter change is now A. If I want to map another drive, no. If I want to map another drive, we go here. If I go to the lettering, it sees how A has been taken. It has a part on it already. That means shows that it's been taken. C does not appear in here automatically because that's a local drive. So they don't even want to put it in here because you might go make a mistake and be clumsy and hit something else. But in here, this one is being shown that it's been taken, and it shows the part name that took the letter A. So now you cannot use A anymore. You can use B, D, E, F, and the rest. So that's if I want to choose the drive, or it always set up to Z. But if you don't want it to Z, you can change it. I can change to the I drive. I can change to K drive, any one that I want to put into. And then look now for the path. That's how you map a drive. But some of them are already known, like now this drive that I've been mapped to, if I want to access that drive, I can access it from my other computer. Let me stop sharing this screen and go to my other computer so you guys can see. I'll share my other computer since they're all both on the same network. So now I know the path name of that drive that I just mapped. If I want to map it now on this computer as well, I can go here, put the path, which you guys can see my other computer, right? Let me just find the path name again from here because I can see it. So that drive name, for me now to get that drive on my other computer, I'm gonna do double backslash here, and I do admin1 / user. That's the path name. Users. You see how it appears? If I hit enter, it's gonna take me to that drive. So now I'm in that drive that I just mapped, which is this one. If I wanted to make it go further, if I wanted to make it go straight forward to this drive, to this one, I would have still done this back admin1 / users /map1. You see how it takes me all the way there, and I hit enter. I'm directly into that map1 drive. But I just brought it to the main page because it was user. User is like, this is the part right here. If I go back, this is map now. I can access the map drive. And if I go here, it's not here yet. I just only access the drive. I did not map it to this computer. But if I want to map it to this computer, I can go to under network as well, go to map a network drive. And I can change the name here into anything that I want it to be. On my other computer, it was set to be A. I can make it to be I here. But now that I know the path already, I can go back admin1 / users /map1. I can do it that way. But if I don't know the path, since my both computers are being shared, I can go browse. I go to the network. It's just loading. Give it a second. It's loading. It's trying to access all the network devices I can find. Same way, if you go here on this part, you can access network devices here, right here. So that's what exactly is happening over there. So right now it has accessed my 2 computers the same way on the other computer. So if I double click on this computer, I will see the save folder only, which was the only one that I shared because I stopped sharing my my users folder. But if I click on this one, I'll see the users folder, the users folder that I shared, which is this one. I can map directly just to this user folder, or I can go detail more. I can drop down more and map to a specific one in that users folder. So that's the part that I'm using, the location that I'm trying to access. So I can go now to the map one, double click on it, and do OK. Now you see the part that came out. That was the same part that I put in there. Let me just clear it out so you make you understand. So you go browse. Under here, users, I go to map. I can still go to this drop down here. You see how it has the little check mark next to it? I can do the drop down. It shows me more folders in there. I can drop down more and go into more details. You can map to a specific folder, or you could just map to the main one. the main one, which is this one. I can map to this one. That's going to give me all access to all the other drives. Let me map just to that user so you guys see it right there. So that's the part right there. It ends just a user. But if I want to go forward, I will go to let me finish this one, then I'm going to map to another one. So now it has mapped to that one. This is just the users folder, which says admin iDrive. Let me map now to another one still in that users folder. Let me change this to be K. So I go browse, I go admin, user, I can go to map. I do okay. You see how the path now is different? Finish. Now I'm going to have 2 drives in there instead of 1. So you see how I have 2 drives in here? One says it's just admin 1. This one says admin 1 user, and which is the other one that I mapped to. And if I double click on this one, it's going to bring me into the folder right there, which there's totally nothing. Oops. So if I go back here, if I double click on this one, it's going to bring me here where I have all the other folders. But the other one, let me open this in a new tab. Open new Windows. So if I go to this one, there's totally nothing in this one. So there's 2 of them now here. You see, this one has stuff in it, but this one does not have no stuff in it because I have not created any folder into this one. And that's how you can map to the drives, and you can set permissions on them, and you can access stuff. So I can set permission that in this student account. You see, I don't have access to it because why? The permission has not been set to it. I can go give access to this this computer to be able to access this student account, this student drive. Let me do it on my other computer so I can give it. Let me give it permission over there. So student, you guys cannot see what I'm doing, but you already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go share. I'm gonna go. Go under security, go under advanced security, and set a permission. So everyone, it only says read. So effective settings. Let's see. Okay, permissions. I go under student. I'll do admin 1, or let me add. So allow for everyone full control. I'll do everyone. I'm just trying to give permission to it. So everyone in there had just read only, but now I'm going to give it full permission to it. And I do okay, apply, okay, close. So now if I go here, I can access this drive. Why is it not going? Just go. Oh, okay. It's because it's not on the same network. It's because they're not on the same domain. Even though I give the permission from the other computer, it still won't be able to access this because they're not on the domain. If it was on a domain, when I give the access from this side, it will be definitely react to this one on the other side. But now that they're not on the domain, I can only do it manually from the local machine itself, not from the other computer. But when I'm going to introduce all these computers to a domain, both of them, which we're going to do in Active Directory, by doing so, that we have to go under PC, properties, bring it over here, change settings, computer name, yes, change computer name. You see how it says here, just work group? You guys see where it says work group? This is where you introduce your computer to a domain. Even though I've taken the subject to a different file level, I'm just going to show you guys exactly what is going to happen. When I introduce this computer to a domain, it's not going to be checked anymore to a work group. It's going to be this one. I have a domain that I've already created in my VM, but I'm not going to tell you guys the domain right now because when we get to that, I'm going to show you how to do that, how to create your own domain. You can create a local domain, even though it's not going to be on a network, but it can just be a local domain. And that's when I'm going to use that domain now to introduce these computers on them. But for now, I'm just going to leave it to work group because now they're not on the same domain. So they're on each one, they're on just on a regular work group. That's why I cannot get access to that folder because they are not on the domain. That's where domain comes in play because domain helps you now to connect you both ways. Jerry, have something to say?
Can we take our break?
Oh, yes.
I think the class is
The process a lot of knowledge.
It's
too much processing.
It's a lot to absorb. So let's take like a 15 minutes break.
All right,
come back at.
Let me go Google and try to see. I'm gonna stop sharing this computer. Let me do the other one. Excuse me. All right. I'm just gonna open Chrome so I can set up.
You can just do the Google timer.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. The thing is, my thing is hiding all over there. 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
15.
Okay. All right.
All right. Pause recording.
Yep.
All right, guys, be back in 15 minutes. Resume.
Right. It's back. I was clicking the wrong thing. Sorry, guys. Thank you for that example, Jonathan. All right. As I was saying, what we're doing today is pretty much file sharing, file and print sharing, but we're also doing remote desktoping too. I'll teach you guys how to set that up as well. Before the end of today, you guys will know how to connect to your other machines, because you got to set it for both machines to be able to connect to those machines. Right now, I'm connected to the other machine. You guys remember I was telling you about that I had to join Zoom from the other side and join Zoom from this side and share screen from the other side. But instead of doing that, I can remote into that machine. This is what I just did. If I go to this PC right here, you see there's a machine right here that I'm putting right here. This is not a machine. This is not a machine. If I click, let me close out all this. So this machine is different. This machine is different. Just to, I gotta move this. This thing keep. One second, guys. I'm just trying to hide this. Hide floating in control. Okay, finally got it. So if you look here, this is a remote machine. It says here remote machine and it says admin, because that's the machine I'm connected. One second, guys. Sorry about that. It's one of these crazy recruiters calling me. So what I'm trying to explain to you guys is that this machine right now, this one is a different PC. This is different PC. This is my main computer, which is down here. If I click on it, it's right here. If I go this PC, right click, I do properties. You guys can see this is admin one, right? Right here. I just trying to make you, I just want you guys to understand the different machine that I'm in. And this PC is a different machine. And this is another PC right here, which is my admin machine, the other one I was telling you guys about. The background is not going to come in because I'm doing a remote connection. So it does not show any background, just for security purposes. Like, let's say, if you were connecting somebody else's machine, they will not want you to, if they had their kid's picture on their background, maybe somebody had his, his nude picture as his desktop icon or something else, they will not want you to see those things. So that's the whole point about this, like this black background. But if I go into this machine right here, if I right click on this PC and do properties, let me just extend. I don't know if you guys can see. You guys can see the remote machine, right? Can you guys see this?
Yes.
All right. So if I right click on this PC, keep going, hiding. This PC, if I go down to properties, gotta move that down all the way. So if I go to properties in this machine, this is a whole different machine right here. You see how it says admin? And this is another PC. This is different. This is my main PC that I'm working in, and that is my remote machine. So this is the remote machine right here, which I'm in, which is my other computer. And as I was telling you guys earlier, we ended with this is a remote desktop, and these are the folders that we created in, the shared drive that we created from that other machine. You see, I have access to both machines. I can minimize this one. This is my main machine. If I go back to remote desktoping, let me reconnect to this machine so you guys see. I'm going to quit the connection.
Prof. Kingsley.
Yes.
Can you start by showing us how you did the remote connection, what protocol you used?
I did not use for this one. Go ahead.
In the previous sessions in networking, we were talking about protocols and ports, and in doing that remote connection, I assume you are using some kind of protocol, right?
Yes. Because but I use RDP. I know RDP's protocol is already set. I use RDP, which comes with your computer. That's one of the tools.
So exactly, that's what I'm talking about. So RDP is one of the protocols that is in the list of protocols and ports that I sent to them in the previous class.
Right.
So this will be an example of how a protocol is being used. Right. So if you follow the notes I sent to you last week, RDP was one of the protocols on the list.
And who can tell me the port?
RDP has its port. Who can tell me the RDP port?
It can be 143.
That's not correct. Who can tell me the RDP port? Jarvis.
Port 42.
Come again.
42.
42 is not right. Bismarck, try again.
I don't know.
How about 3389?
That's correct. 3389.
That's TCP for RDP, and you're correct, Jarvis. So that's the port that TCP, RDP used. You can also use TeamViewer right here, and there's Potty. I have Potty also right here. If I want to connect Potty, I don't know, Gerard, refresh my memory on this because it's been a while since I connect using Potty.
No, you cannot RDP from Potty. That's not possible.
I know it's for Linux system, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that means I'm getting confused. That's Linux. But I know RDP here, you just need to know the computer name or the IP address. Like right here, I know the computer name already. I can use the computer name or I can use the IP address, which now is going to include DNS to resolve that IP address into a host name. So this is where DNS2 plays here. DNS plays here, TCP and TCP plays here as well, because TCP is the port you use. DNS resolve this host name into an IP address or the IP address to a host name. So it's vice versa. This is what happens here. So if I already have my host name in there, if I click continue, it's going to sign in to my other computer. And it's going to want you to log in because you're logging as a different person, but you have to log into that computer as the user of that computer, not the user of this computer. Because the name that is here is my credentials for this, my local computer. But the remote computer, its name is admin. So it's just admin. Admin 1 is this computer that I'm using to remote into that admin. And now I'm going to put in the password of that other account. It's just like you log out your computer and then you come to sign into the computer. You have to put in a username and a password. So I am putting in the username and password of this computer, not this computer. That's what I was doing before. I was making a mistake before. I was using the username of this computer instead of the username of that computer. So I was trying to log into another computer like somebody else, which if I was on a domain, that would work. But right now I don't have a domain set up. So that's never going to work because it's a local login. It's called local login. But if I want to log in as a domain login, instead of putting my admin name here, I'm going to put in a backslash. I think it's a backslash with a forward slash. I put the domain name or server name, then go by a backslash again. It's gonna automatically that I'm logging to this domain as a different user. That's what it's gonna be. But this place that I put server name is just gonna be domain name. Let me just say domain name. Domain. That's what it's gonna be in there. The domain name of your domain is gonna be that. I have a domain that I set up already, but I haven't configured everything yet. So I cannot use that yet because it's not in process. So I cannot use that domain yet. But if I was going to sign into this computer as somebody else, I have to put the domain name first in front before I put the username next. Then I put in this user account, I put in the password. But since I'm signing into the computer as that user of that computer, and I know the username and the password, I'm just going to type in the password of that user. And it's going to log me in. So now I'm logging to that computer as that user. So you see the background now, the background came in. So you see this is the background and this is a different background. Same way I was showing you guys, but now I'm logging to that computer remotely and I can still access everything as if we're doing it from the way I was sharing my Zoom screen. It's pretty much the same thing. So I can go into this computer, I can start zooming to this computer, start a Zoom session too as well, just to give you guys an example of it. My taskbar is gone, it was hidden. Can you guys see the remote computer now? Just the remote computer now, you guys can see, right?
Yes.
You guys see where I am? You see what I'm clicking right now?
Yes.
Where's my cursor on? Where's it on? On refresh?
Refresh.
Yes.
Okay, okay, just want to make sure. So this is the remote computer itself. I'm not on my original computer anymore. This is the remote computer. I've just make it enlarged. I've enlarged the screen for it to become a full screen. And for you to reduce that full screen, if you see here, for you to tell that you're in a remote computer, you always see this bar up here. You see this bar up here? A blue bar, you guys see it? It's a blue bar here that's written there, admin.
Yep.
It tells you the Wi-Fi is connected and you can minimize it right here and you can quit it right here as well. It's just like you opening a page, but this one you're opening a remote computer. So if I maximize it out here, it's a full screen now. It has everything set up in there. I have my Slack, everything. It's just that my taskbar on this computer is hidden. So if I want to search, I can search Zoom in here, but I don't want to open Zoom because it's gonna be echoing. So I can sign into Zoom on that other computer, whereas I'm already on Zoom on my other computer. I can open. Let's go to folder File Explorer right there. If I go to this PC, those are those shared drives that we created in this remote computer. Let me minimize this and minimize this. Let's go now to this computer. This is my local computer, the other one. If I go to File, Folders, I go here, I will see just one. Go to the network. I'm trying to see if I can access. Okay. It's just one that shows, and this one is still locked. So you see, I still have access now on this computer because I haven't opened that file yet. Let's go back now to that remote computer. Let me go give access back to this for this computer to be able to see, to get that share. So I'll go here, pictures. This is my other remote computer that we're in right now. This is the folder that I deny permission for anybody. So I'll go now to properties again and go back now to sharing, advanced sharing. I can go like this, permissions. Everyone I took out, I denied permission. So I will take off this and give full permission. Apply, okay. Apply, okay, close. And let me minimize this computer and come back now to this one. We are back now on my local computer. If I double click on it, you see how I have access now to the folder. It did not give me that error message anymore. And I can create a folder now in here because I have full control of this folder. Yeah, it's just because of the domain. We haven't set the domain. That's why I cannot create a folder. But I can only view it at this point, and I can use documents in here and paste it down here. You see, I can copy document from that folder. I've copied stuff from that folder. Let me go change the permission. That will not be able to copy anything. I cannot remove anything from this folder. So let me just put this here, which is what I copied. So if I go back now to that remote computer, go to settings, properties, sharing, advanced sharing, permissions, everyone. Let me take out I'll deny
Sir,
yes.
please, concerning the domain, must the domain be our own domain, or can we get another domain as long as it is up and running and use it to?
You can buy a domain. You can buy a domain online and use it if you have
free domains, because like domain the .biz which are free domain.
Yes, you can buy any. You can use any domain, but the one that we're going to use is just going to be Active Directory, like just a configured domain that we're going to configure on our Active Directory machine on Windows 2012 server. That domain is going to be the server is going to be your domain controller. We're going to set a domain controller that you can create a domain. You can call it .com, .net, .anything. That's just a temporary domain. That's not a worldwide domain. That's just a practical. You're using it just for practical purposes. It's just going to be a local domain. But if you want to go now to like getting a wide domain, that's when you go now to a website. I think it's GoDaddy.com. You can go to GoDaddy.com. You can put your domain name that you want to buy in there. They'll tell you if it's available or not. If it's available, they'll tell you how much it costs. It costs you for you to buy it. That's what they're going to tell you, how much it's going to cost you to buy that domain. And you can always use that domain. Anybody can access that domain from anywhere. But the one that we're going to do, we're just going to do a one that is going to be accessible within your local area network, that's within your house or within a small business. Let's say a business of like a small company that they don't necessarily need, they don't have like maybe a problem of like 1,000 population. You can create an internal domain and use that for. But when it comes now to like big corporations that have Fortune 500 companies and everywhere, all over the place, that's when you want to get, you want to buy a domain that you can host it anywhere. You understand? Did I clarify your point, Bismarck?
Thank you very much. I was just talking like for the purpose of this remote login so that we could really see how it works.
Yeah, I have set up one, but I mean, I don't want to go into that right now because I know we're still going to go into setting up a domain. I don't want to go into that right now because detail into that because
okay,
I have one set up here. Let me just show you for my VM.
Thanks.
You see it.
Thanks. No, don't show it. Just to continue. Don't show that one. Thanks. I've understood you.
All right. Okay, as I was saying about print sharing, so I can copy this file. I copy this file from my remote computer. I can go into this remote computer. I save stuff from this computer to that remote computer. All I can do is I can drag and drop. It's not gonna go. I can copy, try to paste. It's gonna tell me the destination already contains a folder name app. So it's just telling me that I have a clone folder in there. So I can create, let me create just a folder in this computer. Name me example. Right, let me open this folder. All right, if I see if I can paste. So you see, it's copying this folder from here to this machine now. So I can do stuff like that. So long as this machine is remote connected to the other machine. It's copying now this folder that I copied from here and I'm pasting it in here. So I can transfer information from this. That's also called, that's another way of like file sharing as well. You can just copy from this machine once you're remote connected. You can copy from this machine and paste it in here. You can go and share the file. You can view the files on both machines. I can share this file. Let me go sharing, advanced sharing, share this file, permissions, read only, okay. I can do full control, but I don't want to do full control. I'll do just read only for example purposes. All right, apply. I've done a maximum amount of 20 persons, 20 users that can access that file at a time. That means 20 people can be on that same file at the same time. I can put it to be 100 people can be on that same file at the same time. But if that 100 people connects and they're all working on that file at the same time, when the 101 person comes to connect, it will tell you that the capacity limit is above that. It's going to give you an error message that you pass the maximum capacity limit until whoever modified that file or whoever give the share permission on that file as the admin, which is going to be you guys. He is the one that can go in there and change this capacity. You can extend it to 200. Then now that person that was getting that error message can easily log into that machine, log into that file and do modification as well and editing as well. So let's go back. Now that I've shared this Windows Server file, if I come now to my remote machine right here, Let me, so now that folder has copied to this, it's still copying. Let's go to my remote machine. Oh, it's a little bit slow because I have my VM open. Close this. All right. So this is, it's just loading. So this is my network right here. I don't know who is TS client, but I don't know how I got on my network. So if I go here, I just shared a folder.
Senior Kingsley.
Yes.
Sorry, one quick question.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's say if no, right there, please go back to where you have here. So let's say if I have, let's say, 3 computers in the house, how do I know probably you've already spoken about it. Maybe I might have lost.
No, it's okay.
Yeah. So how do you get them to appear on the same network? Do you have to go?
You go here, control panel. That's let me show you guys. I think I jumped that step. You're right, Jonathan. So if you go control panel, right? If you go to control panel right here, you see where it says network and printer sharing and sharing. You click on that. Let's see, set up a connection to network. No, that's not there. No, that's just VPN IP address and stuff. So if you go change advanced sharing settings, this is where you do all that. You see network discovery. If I turn this off, turn off this, go to guest, turn off this, turn off this, go to all networks. Just turn off public folder sharing. See if all that's been configured. Yep. Save. All right. Let's see if there's anything else we need to do. Change adapter. Right click on this. Properties. That's just to set IP address. I mean, if I want to set IP address, I can go, let me go to sharing, allow other networks users to connect through this computer internet connection. I don't want to do that. That's just to share my Wi-Fi. If I want to share my Wi-Fi with other people on other computers, I can do that from here. So I close this. That has been done. Minimize. Go to my virtual machine. Let's refresh. You see how the computers are gone? Now, you see how the other one is gone? That means this local computer, this one, I'm not sharing it. Nobody can see it anymore on the network. You cannot see this computer anymore on the network. The only one that appears here is this one, which is this computer, the remote computer that I'm remote logged into. That's why it's appearing. I can turn it off as well. I can go into its own network sharing. Let me go into its own network sharing as well. So go control panel. I hope you guys are watching. You can stop me at any point if you don't understand. Go network sharing. Where is it? Needs to set up eyes here, right here. Network and sharing center. You click on there. It opens. You go advanced sharing, change. You see how it's turned on here? I turned it off, network discovery. Turned off file and print sharing. Because I can turn off network discovery, but leave file and print sharing on. If I share a folder, somebody else can see it as well. They can see the share file, but they'll not be able to see my computer. I go down to all network as well. Turn this off. And it says it there, turn off public folder sharing. People logged in on this computer can still access this folder. That means if you're logging on the computer, you can access the folder. It doesn't mean that if you're on another computer, you won't be able to access the folder because it's been turned off. Except only person that's logged into that computer will be able to access it. So that has been done. Let me see if there's anything we're missing. Private standoff. Guess turned off. Save settings. You always got to save the settings. And you see how it has this shield here. That tells you that it requires admin credentials to save that settings. When you're working in an IT department, if you don't have admin credentials, if you don't have an admin account, you try to change the settings, it will not allow you to do it because you don't have admin credentials. Me, when I click on it, nothing reacts because why? This machine is set to be the admin. I have full control on this machine. But in a working environment, you have accounts because in my job, I have 2 accounts. I have 2 user accounts. One of my user account is my admin account. Another one is my regular employee account. So if I'm trying to troubleshoot on somebody's machine and he asks me for admin credentials, I am going to use my admin credentials, not my regular employee credentials, because I have 2 credentials. So that's why they make it different. Just so if something happens to that user's machine, they will know that I was the one that logged into that machine and I was working on that machine. And maybe I break something or I did something that I'm trying to deny that I did not do it. They go now into that log file again. That's where they're going to catch you. They know that, yes, you were the last person that logged in there, and it records. Every computer has a log file. Each time you log into that computer, it's saved in that log file. It tells you who the last person was that logged into that computer. So let me minimize this now. If I refresh this now, this computer is going to go away. You see, nothing even appears because nothing is being shared on this computer. And it tells you here that network discovery and file sharing has been turned off. So for you to enable that, you can temporarily put it on, but once you finish doing what you're doing, you restart this machine, it's going to come back to this process because you just temporarily put it on, which I can do here, temporarily turn on for the moment. It's going to show my current machine. If I go to the other machine as well, let me minimize this machine. If I go to this machine, if I try to go to network and file sharing, it's going to tell me everything is turned off as well because I turned it off earlier. And I can click here, put it on for the moment. You see now, it can see my other machine and it can see itself. So this is itself. This is the other machine. So this is this machine, which is admin 1, and this is the remote machine, which is just admin. So now you see this machine now can see both machines as well, because network and file sharing has been turned on. So you can see both machines right here. And this is pretty much the for file sharing. And now you can do manipulation in those machines by sharing a folder. Like you see, this is the Windows Server folder I shared earlier for my main machine. This folder right here, this one. This folder is being shared. For me to know that this folder is being shared, I can go to properties, go to sharing, and advanced sharing. You see how it's been checked? If I uncheck it here and I do apply, it's going to just tell me that it's just going to give me error message. That's just telling you that, oh, you're about to stop sharing this file. If anybody that was using that file, automatically the person is going to quit from their computer, and they're going to get a network error that file is no more shared. It's no more shared. If I go back now to my remote machine, I refresh this page, that is gone. So I can tell you the amount of folders that are being shared from that remote machine, which is this machine that I'm accessing. This one that I'm accessing right now is my local machine. It's not my remote machine. This is what I'm accessing. But on my remote machine, this is the account right here. If I double click on it, this is the only folder that has been shared on this machine. This is the only folder that has been shared. So if I double click on it, because I have permission to see stuff in there, I can be able to see stuff in there. I can change the view to a medium icon so I can see what is in each of them. I can create a text file in here as well. You guys know how to create a text file, right? I remember that was one of like the first step that we did. Let me just create a text file in here. So if I go new, I can do a rich text file, or I can just do a text file. Oh, it's a little bit down. So let me do here so you guys can see new. So it says text document and rich text document. I can do either or. So I can just create the call test 1. Now this file, I can see this file in here, which is my remote machine. That's why I created the file. If I minimize my remote machine, go back now to my main machine. In my main machine right here. If I double click on admin, that's the account, the share folder as well, I'm going to see that text file. This is right here. I can open that text file right here, do modification. All right, I save it, close it, save it. It's gonna ask me save as because it just want me to save a name, and I'm just gonna do save because I'm gonna use the same name. Oh, let me do test 1 edit. Yes. So network, let's see. All right, it won't let me save it because I don't have permissions. Let me see the permission that I have on that folder. Don't save. All right, I can only access the folder from this machine. Let's go back to the machine. Let's see the permission that we have on this machine. All right, file, save right here. One step back, right click, properties, sharing, advanced sharing, permissions. So everyone has full control. And this still go back because I cannot edit because of the domain. But once we set up the domain and I introduce these both computers to the domain, that'll be more easy. You see how some of these file sharings will not even get those error messages. But so long as you have that full control here, you can easily edit file from a different computer. So long as you have permission on that file, you can edit that file from a different computer, do modifications on them, and save it. Somebody else on this computer is going to be able to see the modification that you've done on that file. Right now, you don't see nothing in there. And the file also, I don't know, you can open the file, set permission on that file. I can set permission just on this file, not even the whole folder. So this folder you have full access to this folder, right? That's another step I was going to show you guys. You have full control of this folder. I can open this folder, go in here, same way as you're setting permission on a folder, you can set permission to on a file. But this time you're not going to go through sharing. You're going to go through security. I can go properties, go to securities. I can ensure that everyone edit. I can make that everyone does not have any permissions. I deny all permissions. Let me see. Let me just do an example with the test file, not a picture. I can do this test file, properties, securities. I go to everyone, I edit. I highlight, you make sure you highlight the person that you want to give permission to, or don't go make a mistake and give it to somebody else. So always make sure the cursor is on the blue line is on the right one. You can do everyone, and it's going to show you the permissions down here. If I do admin, it shows it down here. If I do administrator, it shows it down here. If I do system, it shows it down here. If I go everyone, it shows it down here. So everyone does not have full permission. If I deny full permission to this text file, I go apply, okay, apply, okay. This is my remote machine that I did this on because this is where I created the file. Let me minimize this down. And then let's go back now to this computer. But this time we're going to go to the network right there, network, admin, which is the other computer, shared, test. You see? It says you do not have permission. I don't have no permission on this. That's why I'll keep getting that error message. Before I was not getting this error message because why? I had a read and write permission. But right now I'm getting the error message because I don't have permission on this file. If we go back to the remote computer, right click on there. All right, let me change the permission on this. Security. You see, I have everything on denied because I enable it to be denied. So if I do full control, apply, okay, okay. Let's minimize this. We're back now on my local machine. This file, this is the file that we tried to access the last time and it gave us an error message. This time when we try to access it, I will not get that error message anymore, right there. Any questions? Any question before we move on to the next one? All right, so silence means no questions. Okay, I'm gonna have you guys let's install, we're gonna install Windows 2012 server today. Just prep it, install it. Then tomorrow, that's when we're gonna introduce we're gonna add roles on that server, because you just setting up a server like this. If I create a server, let me just show you guys myself, one of my servers. All right, these are my servers that I created. This one, I'm going to power it on. Let me power the server on right now. I just double click on it, or you can click on the server and you can hit start. This is just error messages, warning messages. That's okay. So my server is loading up. All right. This is a 2012 server that I configured and installed. I installed it on a VM and then configured it to be Active Directory and DNS. It's a DNS server and it's an Active Directory server as well. The reason why I did that is because for small businesses, as I told you guys earlier, for small businesses like 1,000 or 1,005 people capacity, you can create a small. You can set up one server to be your Active Directory server, to be your DNS server, and to be a DHCP server. You can make it all to be on one server for small companies. But when it goes to like bigger companies, like a Fortune 500 companies that have like a lot of like branches everywhere, you cannot do that. It is not advisable to do it. You want DNS to have its own simple, empty, and plain server. You want Active Directory to be on its own server. You want a DHCP to be on its own server. Because if something happens, you will not be able to, if that server has a problem and it goes off, the whole company is down. And you know what it means for a company to be down just for a week or a day. That's money that they're losing. And when DNS servers are being set up, they have also what they call a backup. They have a backup server somewhere, which is called clustering. You cluster that server in the sense that, and when we get to rate, you guys are going to understand what clustering means and all that, the fun stuff. So when you set up that server, let me just turn this on. Control delete. I know I messed up this server at some point where do Control Alt delete, close this.
So just a refresher. Let's just refresh a little bit on servers. So Jarvis, what is a server?
Yep.
What do you understand? What is your understanding of a server? Jarvis, question is for you.
A server is it's a device which is I'll just let that one pass.
Okay, Jude. You know I was coming to you next. Jeff J, what is a server?
I think a server, it's a device. Yeah, I think a server, it's a device used in sharing data or communicating with other devices on a network.
Are you sure about that answer?
Yes, sir.
Faith, can you tell us what is a server?
Excuse me.
I'm blank right now.
Okay. Who can tell us what a server is? Emeka.
can try.
A server, excuse me, is a CPU that functions for client service. So it's what other program devices can use it, to be able to communicate. So basically, it serves the client.
Can you take it over again?
I said a server is it's like a software or a computer device like a CPU, or a server is a CPU. So basically, its purpose is to serve its client. So you can put applications there. So if you want to work on something, the server is responsible for servicing, basically for servicing the app or that client, who the user, which is the server, which is the client.
Excellent. What is an example of a server? Examples of servers,
There's a CPU is a service considered a CPU. Like a computer can be considered as a server.
As a CPU is part of the motherboard. It's a part in the motherboard. A CPU cannot be a server.
No, I'm sorry. I said a computer. So I said a computer.
Server.
So what are examples of servers that you know, like any server?
You have email server.
Faith, go ahead. Faith, go ahead.
I think she's breaking up. Can really.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
go
can
ahead.
hear you now.
Okay, I said we have web server, email server, print server. Yeah.
That's all accurate. So guys, we cannot be talking about servers and you don't know what servers are. And we've been singing from the first day of class that we're going to be working with servers throughout this course. And I'm surprised that after all the explanations that we've done on servers,
even in your working environment as well.
I'm really shocked that we are unable to explain what servers are. And I remember I gave you a simple example when we started. That think of a server as you go to a restaurant, you go place an order, and a server takes your order to the kitchen. And
for the chef,
you're ordering food, for example, they're gonna take your order and then serve you the food. You're the client, and then the server is there as the person that is serving you that food. That is what a server does. We've explained that 1,000 times. So a server can be a hardware or a software. So it can be virtualized server. Like Kingsley is displaying us, showing us the Windows Server 2012.
Right.
That's a virtualized server. It could be a physical server where the software is installed on it, right? So in this case, we are dealing with a virtualized server, Windows 2012 server. And on the server, we're gonna have things like Active Directory, DHCP, DNS. So if you need some kind of DHCP service, the server is gonna serve that to you.
And yeah, I was gonna go.
You browsing facebook.com, you are making a connection to the Facebook server, which is a web server. So guys, you cannot forget what a server is.
And I was going to come to that point.
You go to an interview and they ask you that question, first question, and you cannot nail that question down, that interview is over.
Yep. So I was going to come to that point. Like you see a server, this is a server right now.
It's so much information, so we have to process everything. It's like so much.
I know. It's gonna.
But you're right. We still have to.
It's gonna take time. I mean, there are some ones. If I go into networking, I'm asking you about some net mask, and you don't tell me that, I'm not gonna have a problem. I'll say okay.
It's something else. It's understandable.
Yeah, it will take time. But if I ask about server, and
because
struggling with servers
in your working environment, this is
just
what you're gonna be dealing every
just
day.
revise. I'm not saying anyone is dumb or anything. That's not the point I'm making. I'm saying that there are some things right now that you should be able to. If I ask you what is an IP address, you should be able to tell me like at the back of your head, things like that. Default gateway, you just tell me right away. Servers, switch, routers, things like that. Those ones should just come in without any issue. But if I ask some complicated questions like, okay, difference between TCP, UDP, OSI model, and you struggle with that, well, I'll understand. But if I ask you what is a data center, and you're like, so let's revise. That's all I'm saying. Revise is very important because
so guys,
soon we're gonna transition into Linux, and we're not gonna come back to this stuff.
Let me just show you guys one. Let me just show you guys one more thing before we get into that server. One minute, Bismarck. Just 1 minute. Give me 1 second. So as I showed you guys earlier about RDP, on your machine there's RDP application there already, but that application is not turned on. If you don't turn on the remote desktoping on your computer, even if you open this RDP, you try to remote into your computer, you will not be able to. You have to go into settings. You go into settings on your computer. You type remote desktoping right here. It's going to appear right down there. You click on remote desktoping settings. You see this one here? It says enable remote desktoping settings here. If you don't enable it on both machines, you will never be able to connect to that machine, and that machine will never be able to connect to this machine. So that's one more thing I just wanted to show you guys before we get back into server, because I know I was going to show you at some point, but too much information and I forgot. You always want to turn this notification here on. You have to enable it. It says there right there, enable remote desktoping. If I turn this off, nobody can remote desktop in my machine. Even if you have the remote, the username or the IP address of this machine, you will never be able to remote into this machine if I turn that services off. So I just wanted to show you guys that, and that's what gives you this machine access for me to connect to the other machine. And I have to turn it on.
Thanks for that, Kingsley. I've had this situation at work,
right,
where I got a ticket where a user couldn't remote into their work machine from home, right? And I came here right where you are, and I was able to see that it was enabled. He had RDP enabled. I checked the work machine, and RDP was enabled on the work machine, but he couldn't still connect. So what was I supposed to think about at that point? The next thing that came to mind is firewall.
Right.
Firewall is blocking that
Let
connection.
me go there.
So that's the next thing you do. Go check, go to your firewall and check if RDP is enabled or is allowed through the firewall.
Right. You can do it. You can go via a control panel, I believe so, right? Or
just
you can
do
search
the shortcut. Just type firewall on the.
You can search it here. Firewall.
Yeah.
Windows
exactly.
Where the Windows Defend Firewall. You click on it, and it tells you where it is. Control panel. You go under thing is turn on Windows Defender. Change notification. Advanced settings. I think it's advanced settings, monitoring, connection, and security.
No, I think go back. 10 Windows features on and off.
Oh yes. Where is it? Right here. No, not the one.
Let's see. No, allow an app or feature through the firewall. That's it.
Right there. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
So if you go in here,
you scroll all the way down and find RDP. Make sure it's checked.
So if I go under R, right here, you see it says remote desktoping right there.
Yeah.
You see it? If I uncheck this, even that that other one that I enabled, even I enable this one under settings. Let me just do remote. Remote desktop setting, this one. Even if I enable this one, even this one is enabled. So long as this one is not checked, you will not still get connection, and you will not still be able to connect, because this is the firewall. This is what allows all applications in here. Like you see all applications in here. You see I can check this one. It says remote shutdown. I can check this machine that somebody is in a remote machine can shut down my machine from a remote computer. But so long as it's not checked in here, you cannot shut down this computer. So those are the firewall settings that you got to pay attention to as well. This is just for mail. This is mail transfer protocol. This one here, simple network. Things in mail or something. SMMP.
Yeah, simple network management protocol.
Yes. You have all of them in there that you can view. Team Viewer 2 is turned on controller. You see how this one's automatically turned on because I have the application on my computer. Virtual machine 2 as well. So you guys got to keep in mind on all those setups.
Yeah, so those are the 2 steps, guys. Come here, enable remote desktop. Go check the firewall. Make sure it is checked on the firewall.
Right.
Do that on both machines. If you don't do that, you will never be able to do a remote desktop connection.
And for you to get to the firewall, you can easily search it from the search bar here, or you can go via control panel as well. So if you go control panel, it's right here. Windows Defense Firewall. You click on it, it's still gonna bring you to the same way if you would have just searched direct here. But that's the shortcut way to do it as quick as possible. Because in the work environment, you not be going all the time to control panel and be looking for stuff. You can just type the name right here, search. That's why they made this search bar. So it makes life easy. And if you search some things too many times, once you click on this search bar, you can easily see them here. You see, I've searched this once too many times. You can just click from there too as well. It brings you right there to the page. All right. I don't know, you guys, all of you guys have your VM machine set up, right?
Yeah, I have a question, please.
Yes.
I think this also has like a networking component. So I have an access point in my basement. So on the access point, a friend helped me to configure this access point. And I tried, so it's on a, even though it's on the same local area network,
yeah.
it's labeled different. So let's say, for instance, if the main local area network is Jonathan, the access point is labeled, let's say, Gerard. So I connected my computer to Gerard, and I connected one computer to Gerard and one to Jonathan. So I was hoping to see both of my computer on the network, but I didn't see them on the same network because I thought it should be on the same area network.
Okay, I understand what happened there. So he did something known as a VLAN. So a VLAN is what happens where within your local area network, you have like two separate networks that from one network, you'll not be able to see the other network. So if you have all your devices connected to one network, all those devices will be seen within that network. Okay. But if you go to the other one in the VLAN, you'll not be able to see the other devices
from the other network.
In the other network. So that's what a VLAN does. Like you can come to a local area network, and you divide it into a VLAN, okay, and create like 2 or 3 separate networks within your network that are separate. That from one network you'll not be able to access the other network. I have the same setup in my house where I have a VLAN with my work resources on. Then I have another line that everybody at home can connect to that line. Okay. But all of them are within my local area network. But from one VLAN to the other, I cannot see the resources. Okay. So that is the setup he did. I'm sure Tony did that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Like that. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Tony will be smart to do something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. So just make sure you are connecting all resources to one network if you want to share resources. Because if you are in one VLAN and you're trying to connect
other
to
VLAN, yeah, it will not work.
No. Yeah. Okay. All right.
So it's like you're doing a bridge, like you're separating 2 networks, but in the same local area network. Just separate them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Kingsley, did you ask us to download something?
Did you guys have your Windows, the virtual machine set up already?
No, Kingsley, you need to walk them through the setup. The homework was just for them to
download
like the ISO image.
Oh, okay. You guys download the ISO image, right?
Yeah, download ISO image, download VirtualBox. So you just need to show them how to use VirtualBox and set up the Windows Server 2012.
That's what I was asking if they already download this VirtualBox already.
Yeah,
you guys have this. So you guys are gonna open your VirtualBox the same way mine is open right now. Let me know when you guys are there.
Real quick, before we go into that,
yes.
I did download it and installed it, but I installed it without the GUI. I installed it with just the command prompt.
Your VirtualBox?
Yes.
You have to do
the 2012 one.
No. That's a server already. That's a server.
I installed the server. I've downloaded this VirtualBox. I installed the server without the GUI.
That's fine.
You want us to install it with the GUI?
Yes, you can install.
Ola, the homework wasn't for you to install the server. It was just for you to download the ISO. That is it.
That's true. I'm going to format the computer anyway, so I was playing around with it because I knew.
Okay, I mean, it's good to play around. I had Bertrand yesterday. He was playing around. He did the same thing. He downloaded the ISO and he was playing around with it.
I messed it up.
And you will not believe this, Kingsley. He he downloaded the ISO and then install the ISO directly on his operating system, on his
Oh
hard
Lord.
drive.
Oh Lordy Lord.
So that's what happened, and it corrupted his system.
Oh,
and
Jesus
he did the same
Christ.
thing Ola did, setting up in a command line interface.
That's
So
not good.
He doesn't understand command line. He doesn't know what to do. So anytime he boots his machine, it
just comes a black
up with
screen.
command line. He doesn't see anything else. And he called me. I started crying. I told him, bro,
You
500 down before I do anything.
So that's why that's the whole point why we're bringing you guys to these steps. So you know, because in a working environment, you're not gonna see a virtual box like this, but you're gonna see something similar to this. So when you're always installing on a machine, pay attention to the descriptions and the notification that you get and instructions. Pay attention to those.
So what Kingsley is saying is, you don't just install, and you know the way most of us, we install programs and we are just clicking next. Yes, no, don't try it. You have to follow every instruction. Like when you click next, you see a bunch of instructions are going to come up. Read every instruction to know what you're doing. Don't just be clicking next, and then at the end of the day, they ask you, okay, what did you do? And you're unable to tell what you did. Like, I'll just clicking next. You don't want to do that. So I think, Kingsley, you want to walk us through like the complete setup?
Yes, that's what I'm going to do right now.
I know some people downloaded 2012, some people downloaded 2016. It's all the same.
The same installation.
Yeah.
I'm just going to walk you guys through the 2016 one. Even though you see them here, I'm going to just do a new one. So you know, brand new. So first of all, when you're here, you're going to have no machines in here. Like mine, I already have this too, but don't worry about it. To set up a new machine, first of all, you come here where it says new. You click on new.
Sorry, Mr. Kingsley.
Yes.
Mr. Gerard, on the assignment homework, you said we should download the Windows 2016 iOS image, which I did on my system. So it was now asking me to burn it into burn the image, but I didn't do that. But the way it came out, it didn't come out as Mr. Kingsley's own.
Let me show you.
No, don't worry.
Let me show you. Yes, I'll show you. Let me show you what Fred is talking about.
Follow what Kingsley is gonna do. I don't want you to do anything. Just follow.
Watch what I'm doing.
At the end, because you're talking about what this other guy did, and he corrected.
Yes, because he didn't follow the instructions. The instruction was just to download. Leave it in your download folder when you download it.
Is this what you see? Is this what you see?
Yes, that's what I see.
That's okay. Yes, leave it. That's the way it's supposed to be.
You're all set.
So you're all set. You're fine. That's what I said. Don't worry about it. This is how it's supposed to look like.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So don't worry about it. This one, I believe it should be, I think that should be a 2016. Okay, yes, 2016, and this is a 2012. 2012 is different. They all look alike.
Yes.
But it's just, don't worry about it. I'll show you how to do. When we get to that step, I'll show you what to do. Okay. This is my virtual box right here. And which is this one? This is my virtual box right here. I click my virtual box and it loads up. There is nothing on this side. Don't pay attention to these two. Just consider it to be there's nothing on your virtual box. I don't know if you guys can open your virtual box as well. Load up your virtual box. Let me know when you're there.
Yes, nothing on it.
All right, click new. You see where it says new right here? Click on new. You're gonna see this pop-up is gonna come in. So this is where you put in, you make the name. You see this name that I have here, Windows Server 2012. This is where you create the name of the server you want to create. If it was a Linux server, I'll do Linux. As I'm doing Linux, watch down here, see how it changes down here? Let me cancel everything. If I do Windows, you see how it changed to Microsoft Windows, Windows 7, and then 64-bit. I just did Win. I didn't even do Windows completely. So once you're renaming, when you're naming your server, if it's a CentOS server, if I do CentOS, you see how it goes automatically Linux, then it goes Red Hat. But if I do Linux, you see I changed to Linux. So that's how you rename your server, and you got to be very, very vigilant when you're doing it. If you're installing a Windows server, you want to give it a Windows name. I can give mine, okay, we're doing Windows 2016. I'll just do Win Serve in caps, just the short name. Then I put 2016. I can put 2016.1 because I already have 2016 in there. I want to differentiate them so I can know the difference. That's how you differentiate the names. And you see automatically it went down here to Windows 2016 64-bit, and it tells you it's a Microsoft product, Microsoft Windows product. And you see the icon here changes to a Windows product. If it was a Red Hat, you see the Red Hat icon changes too as well. If it was a Linux, you see the icon will changes as well. So we're installing
try Unix.
Let me do Unix. Okay. Let me change it to Unix.
Or Solaris or something.
I do CentOS. Let me do CentOS.
Or Ubuntu.
Okay. You see how it changes? You see how the icon changes right here? It goes by the product. If I do Windows, it changes to Windows. If I do Linux, it changes to Linux. If I do CentOS, it changes to Red Hat. You guys see that? So you got to pay attention to when you're installing a server. If you're installing a CentOS server, you want to give it a CentOS name. Or you can say CentOS 6 or CentOS 7 or Red Hat 6 or Red Hat 7. If I do Red Hat, I can do Red Hat 6 or Red Hat 7. You can change them like that. But now we're installing a Windows server. This is the first one we're doing, Windows. We're not yet at Linux, or when we get to Linux, you guys are going to see the when Gerard is installing Linux, you guys will see it. But today we're installing a Windows server. So you can name it WinServe. So you know it's a server. I always do WinServe because it makes it very easy for me. So I do WinServe 2016. Yours is going to be 2016, not 2016.1. Mine is 2016.1 because I already have 2016 server in here. I'm just trying to differentiate. You can still set it to 2016.1. The next server I'm going to install, you can install two 2016 servers. You can have 2016.1, 2016.2, 2016.3. You can have 2012.1, 2012.2, 2012.3, just like that.
So I'm doing this in real time with you right now, Kingsley.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, that's why I want you guys to follow you do it in real time right now. Everybody should do it right now.
Let me just chip in something important, Kingsley.
Yes.
So at work, right, when you ask to provision a server like we're about to do right now,
right,
there is something at work called naming convention.
Yes.
You're not just gonna go and create a server and just call the server any name you want, or any name, or just Windows Server 2016. What we are doing here is an example.
Yes.
But at work, they're gonna have something called a naming convention. You're gonna be following the naming convention that is given to you. So suppose your job is gonna have a naming convention for their servers. So the first thing you might want to ask whoever is telling you to go provision the server is, what naming convention are you going to follow?
And some,
right? But by then they would have already provided that information.
Right, that's what I was about to say. Your boss will be sending you.
When you're going, you already know. Okay, if you are provisioning the server in this group, or if it's a web server, whatever the server is going to be used for, you follow the naming convention for that, and they're going to provide it to you.
And your boss will definitely send you an email like, okay, I want you to provision this server and give it this name. Just the same way we give you guys assignments. Like, we want you to download this ISO image and be like this. They'll be like, okay, they'll send you an email like, okay, we want you to go provision this server and name it, give it this name and give it this IP address, because they want you to make it a static IP. So they'll give you the IP address and the naming convention name because they want you to follow that same procedure. But this one is just an example. We're doing it. This is you building your own servers. So I'm doing my own naming convention. This is my own naming convention I'm doing here, because since I'm a one-man person, I'm doing my own naming convention just because I want to differentiate them and don't get lost into different kind of servers. Because you might come here and you have all of them the same name. You'll be like, okay, which one is 2016? Which one is 2012? Which one is 2000? Which one is the one is a domain server? Which one is a Active Directory server?
Exactly.
So for you to make it.
So naming convention is very important because you want to keep track. Servers need to be in an order. You cannot just go you log into a virtual machine and you see like tons of servers. Because at work you're gonna open like VMware, for example. You see like 100 servers.
Right.
If there is all running. If there is no proper naming convention, how are you gonna tell which is which?
Right.
So that's the importance of the naming convention.
Like
even when you start provisioning your own servers at home, please don't just do it anyhow. Follow a naming convention. Let it make sense.
Like what I'm doing right now, if I was going to set up this server that I'm about to be right now, if I was going to set it to be a domain server, I can put it 2016.1 space. I put domain server. I put domain next to it, so I can tell that server is mostly just it's just a domain. I can put AD next to it, which means it's a full meaning of it is Active Directory. I can put DNS. You guys already know that. I can put DSCP next to it just because I want to make sure that server is a DSCP server. This one is a DNS server. This one is a networking server or whatever server, a web server. You can make them like that. So we're just setting up a regular server right now. The next step, once you put in this name, you click next. It's going to bring you now to the memory size that you want to use. Automatically, it always comes down to under like 6 or like 8 gig, which is going to show you in megabytes right here. You can easily change it from here, or you can just drag. You can drag this cursor towards the right, because it tells you here, this is 4 megabyte. It goes all the way up. You can set your memory size to be maybe all the way down.
Quick
Depending
question,
on how
Kingsley.
Yes.
So this is taking memory space from the primary computer, correct?
Yes. Yes. That's
so
why
that will reduce the speed of our computer after we set this up.
Only when you run that machine, when you run that VM. That's why Gerard in the beginning of the course, Gerard specified the kind of machine for you to get. Because when we get into this, that's when now you start using that memory size. The reason why we specify that you can get from 8 gig and above memory size, because why? Your machine can still sustain on 4 gigabyte of memory, while the other half of it is being used by the virtual machine. Like if you had just 4 gig of RAM on your machine and you set up this virtual machine, once you load this virtual box, your computer automatically start getting slow. Your computer automatically start getting slow because this virtual box is using half of the memory.
One more question real quick. What is the smallest memory we can give a virtual box for it to be functional? 2 gig, 1 gig, or less?
Your memory size, you can set it to 2 gig for the virtual machine, because it's still going to take the space from your original machine. So it's not taking it from like the virtual box. You can set each machine here. I always put mine to at least 4 or at least 8 gig, depending on how much size I have, how much memory I have on my actual local machine. So you can go by what you have on your local machine. Let's say if you have 16 gig of RAM on your local machine, you can put it 4 gig. The minimum you can put, I always do, is build a virtual machine as if you were building a physical machine. That's the advice I'll give you guys.
Sir.
Yes.
So there is one thing to, let me just chip in, Kingsley.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are provisioning a virtual machine, you are not sure what is the amount of memory, what is the amount of storage that you want to allocate to that machine. Usually when you get the email to provision that machine, it's going to be in that email, the instructions
right there
on how you have to provision that machine. But let's say you're at home, we are doing practicals at home now, and you don't know what amount of memory to give to that machine you're about to set up at home. The first thing you want to do, go to Google and Google what is the minimum memory requirement for a Windows Server 2012. It's going to tell you. You don't just go and put any amount there, you know, because if you put less, then your machine is not going to boot up. You will fail during the boot up process, because it's going to tell you you have not allocated enough memory for that machine.
The prerequisites.
If you're not sure, Google is your best friend. Please just go there, go to Google.
I mean, we can do right now. Let me show them, because Google is always the best friend for everybody. We can do.
Kingsley, what if your device, the computer already has the 2016 Windows Server downloaded?
I don't understand what you mean by already downloaded.
Like, what if you already have it? Like, is it possible?
Can you rephrase the question? It's the
question
is not.
This is are we trying to download a Windows Server?
No, we're not downloading, we're installing it, because the last assignment that they gave you guys was for you guys to download the ISO image.
Okay.
The image, we're gonna get there. We'll get to that image part. That's when now the question is gonna be in play.
Okay.
So I'm just trying.
Jeff J, let's start with an ISO image. I don't know if you did the homework or not, or you're still back, but part of the homework was for you to study and find out what an ISO image is. And an ISO image is just a compressed file. Think of an operating system way back. If you went and let's say you bought a new computer and the computer had no operating system on it, and you had Windows operating system, you were going to put it on a CD, on a disk, right? And have you insert it and try to install it from the disk. So it's the same thing with an ISO image. An ISO image is the compressed file of that DVD disk. So think of an operating system that is on a disk that has been compressed into a file, into an ISO file. So we are just using the ISO file to build the virtual machine.
Okay, I got it.
And
so
we are using VirtualBox because we are virtualizing. So it's going to be a virtual machine. You are not installing on your physical machine. You're installing within the VirtualBox.
Understood.
So these are the prerequisites for you to install a Windows 2012 server. Minimum hardware requirement. You see how the RAM says? The RAM here says 512 megabyte. Approximately, we usually try at least 512 megabyte, which is the minimum. But you want to always there at least, you want to be at least around like the 1 gig, 2 gig of RAM, just to make it faster. But the minimum is 512 megabyte. So then disk space, you can have minimum of 32 gig of hard drive. That's a hard drive, the disk space. When I talk about disk space here, is a hard drive. Then network speed. This is the network speed, the Ethernet adapter. You want to be in a minimum of 10 to 100 or 1000 base. 1 gigabit per second. That's what is required. If you're using a hard disk, which in this case, we're using an ISO image that you guys download. Hard disk is like you having a CD that you plug into the machine to install a Windows 2012 CD, but we're not using that. They're required to have a DVD driver because it makes the installation faster to install.
Kingsley, let's go, please, let's go step by step. You talked about a memory, and we were on the memory path. So how many memory are we supposed to have right now at this point that we are?
Yeah, we're gonna get there. I just want to explain it because you were asking about like where I think it was Ola, right? You asked about the memories, how much memory you need.
Yeah, is it like 4 megabyte? Is it, how do we increase it? What limit? What is
I'm gonna show you that in a second. But this is the minimum. That means anything below 512, your machine, as Gerard said earlier, the machine will not boot up. So this is the minimum amount of memory you can have. But it does not mean that you have to put this exact. You can have from this minimum and above. You can have 10 gig of RAM even. So long as your physical machine has enough memory.
Yeah, the reason I'm asking is because you're actually working us towards the process. And
right, that is what I'm showing you here.
Yeah, we're static right here. So everyone, I don't know if I'm making sense.
So if I go back, hold on, if I go back, so if I go back here from the beginning, right? I go next. This is where you put in the name of the server. First of all, the naming convention is the first part. You go next, it brings you now to the memory part. It says there right there, memory size. The automatically memory comes on to this is 4 megabyte.
Yeah, that's
the minimum. The minimum was 512, right? You can either increase it from here, or you can drag it. Just drag this cursor. You see how it increases?
Yeah.
All the way down. You can drag it all the way down, or you can put it somewhere here. Anywhere you can put it. It says recommended memory size is right there, which is not exactly what it gives you a megabyte. But if you want to change it to gigabyte, I don't know, Gerard, can you refresh my memory? How much megabyte RAM is that? Is Gerard there?
Just do. I always just do 2000 to be.
Yes, we always do at least 2000. You can do 2000.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Because it gives you a megabyte. You can always do 2000. You can do depending, or you can just drag it to 2000. Or you can drag it to 4000. You can move the cursor around.
Yeah.
But just to make it easy,
just drag it and put it somewhere in the middle. You know.
Yeah, you can put it somewhere in the middle here.
Yeah.
So it came out to 8. Let's just say, okay, we do 8550, 8550.
Yeah. That's a lot of memory though, but it's fine.
Yes, it's just a machine. I can delete the machine anytime, but I'm just doing it as an example. But you don't want to do that for yours because you're going to download different machines as you're going to install different machines as we go. So you probably want to leave it at 2000 for now because you're still going to do different ISOs. So we want to leave it at 2000. Let's all put it at 2000 first. And then we go next. Now this is the hard disks.
Kingsley, go one step back. Just a second. I think it says the recommended size is.
Oh yes.
2048. So do 2500.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, guys. Thank you for that correction. That's correct, right?
Yeah.
So 25. Let's do 2500. And then we do, because it always tell you the recommended size right here. So you can do something above that. You cannot do something below that. So we'll do next. Here, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do any changes because this one stays automatically. But the next step, that's where you're going to do a change. And it tells you here is just for you to read through, and always make sure you read through it. Don't just go next if it's the first time you're installing a server. But if you've done the process a couple of times, you already know the steps, you can just go next and do your thing. It's telling me here that the recommended hard disks that I'm required, minimum is supposed to be 50 gig. So I can do 60 or 70 gig, depending on how much hard drive you have on your bare machine. Your bare machine, that means on your local machine, which is not the virtual box. So here, if you had a virtual hard disk, you see, you can change the options. It says, do not add a virtual hard disk. Use an existing virtual hard disk. Those are because you have virtual machines that are all just for storage. They have just hard drive pi there waiting for people to use them in a server room, that you can use that virtual hard disk. So if I click virtual hard disk now here, it's going to ask me to find where that virtual hard disk is. That's when now I'm going to now go down to a network drive. That network, you see how we mapped the network drive here? I'm going to go to a network drive that was in here, this one. It might be a storage drive that has a memory for you to use. That's why I'm going to go into that now. But since we don't have that, we're going to create a virtual hard disk. Just go do create. Here, we're not doing any changes as well. It's just asking for your hard disk file types. It's already been set to default. You're just going to do next on that one as well. Dynamic allocation. This is just storage type. It's just next as well.
Kingsley.
Yes.
What's the difference between all the different types of VirtualBox? The image, the hard drive, and the machine disk.
The what?
This one. What's the difference between them all?
So some of them are like the ones that are online, and some of them are, because VDI is the one we're going to use a VirtualBox disk image. That was a disk image that you guys downloaded. That all I am. Miss Fade was saying that she does not understand how the thing downloaded and was looking some funny. That's the one we're going to use. That's why we stick on that one. This one is a virtual machine disk. That means it's already on a virtual machine. As I talked about same concept goes to the hard drive. If you had a hard drive somewhere, it's just stored in there waiting for it to be used for a certain purpose. That's exactly the same thing that happens to it. You have a virtual hard disk, same thing. But this one, we already have the ISO image, and we are using our actual computer's hard drive as part of this process. That's why we leave it to the first one.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we're gonna go next. This one, you don't change nothing on this one too. It's just a storage size which has already been set up. But you guys, when you're doing this process, you can always read through. I already know that's why I'm explaining fast explanation.
Yeah. So this part simply says, okay, do you want storage to be added as you keep using storage dynamically? Or you just want to create a fixed storage that, okay, that is it. This is it. I'm creating 50 gig. That is it. I'm going to start using 50 gigs. Or do you want it to be dynamically allocated, which means you can create 50 gigs
and you can always add.
You use 10. If the 10 is done, 10 more get added until you reach the 50 gigs that you provision.
Right.
So it's always good to go with dynamically allocated instead of fixed.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Jared. So we'll go next now for this one. This is now where you set up the disk space. You see how it comes automatically with 50 gig from the beginning, where it says recommended was 50 gig, right? It tells you 50 gig is already here. That means that was a recommended. The same way it goes to the memory. When we click on the memory, it came with a standard memory size of 512, which is the minimum. This one shows you 50 gig here. You can extend this 50 gig. If you want more space, you can drag it to 151, depending on how much size you have. You can go even to 2 terabyte. It has 2 terabyte. But if your disk on your computer, I mean the disk space on your computer doesn't have up to 2 terabyte, it will not work. But I always do mine 60 just in case if I need one extra. I always do 60 gig. You can leave it at 60 gig because the minimum is 50. So you cannot go below 50. You can only go ahead. I can do 62 gig. I can do 65 gig. I can do 80 gig. But I'll leave it at 60 gig. Let's just all put it at 60. Then we do create. Now, you see how it appears here. It has created, but we're not yet done with the setup. We're not yet done. So now we're here. The machine is right here. The next step, you see how I highlight on blues? You see how it's highlighted? you always want to highlight on the machine that you're working on. Highlight on that machine that you're working on, which is the one that we created, the 2016.1. You come now under settings, right here. You guys can stop me if you don't understand somewhere. I can bring you back to one more step. You go to settings. You click on settings. All right. In settings, the reason why we're under settings is because we want to set a network adapter for it to take internet from my original computer. Once that machine is built, it's going to take internet from my computer. And by doing so, that's when we go into settings in the VirtualBox. We go under networking. You see how it says NAT here? That's not the adapter we want to use. You want to change this adapter to a bridge adapter. Bridge adapter simply means that it's going to bridge the network from my original computer to this virtual machine. When that virtual machine boot up, it's going to have internet access, but it's taking the internet access from my main machine. You understand that, right? And you can also set different adapters. Like, we're talking about NIC cards in a hardware. The beginning of the class, we're talking about you can have multiple NICs on one machine. This is where now this comes in play. You see how you have one adapter here? This first adapter is considered to be one NIC. This next adapter is another NIC. This one is another NIC. This one is another NIC. So I have 4 network cards on this one server. But we're using just this one network card right now. I can enable this second NIC, this NIC card, enable it right here and change the adapter to be something else. But that's another process that is a whole different class on its own. We're going to go into that. But just to make you guys understand that you can set multiple NICs on one machine. I can enable that one, but I don't want to enable it right now. I just want to use just one NIC. Because that's going to be a whole networking class for you guys to get into. And if you always have questions, you can always come back. If you want to do a play around with it, you can build a simple different machine and play around with the NICs and see how it reacts. So the only thing we're going to change in here is just the NIC and storage.
Okay. Kingsley, let me just say one more thing.
Kingsley, you like, we just installed the Windows.
We're not done. We're not done installing it yet.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
It looks like you went far ahead, and we're still like trying to figure out, what is going on, because I don't know.
Okay, so Jude, we've created
a machine,
the virtual machine. That part is done.
We've not installed it
right
yet.
Now, what we are doing, we have to allocate an adapter, a network adapter to that machine. Remember, on your physical machine right now, you have a NIC, right? A virtual machine also needs a NIC to be able to connect to the network, because this machine is going to be behaving the same way as your physical machine is behaving. So it needs storage, it needs RAM, it needs a NIC, it needs all those things. It needs an IP address. So that's what we are doing right now. So we just finished building the machine.
We just finished creating the machine.
And Kingsley took you to settings. So under settings, he enabled an adapter, and he did something called bridging. So Kingsley, go back, go to the.
So this is the machine that we created right here, Mr. Jeff. This is the machine that we created right here. We have not yet installed the machine yet to be in a full functioning. We're still setting up the machine to become in a full functioning manner. By doing so, we have to do some settings and changes in some places. We've created a machine name and it's right there. We have to go now into settings. By you highlighting this machine, first of all, you highlight this machine, the machine that you want to work on. Because when you go into a virtual box, work at a workplace, you're going to see multiple virtual machines. You want to click on a specific one that you want to work on.
I'm just trying to make sure that we're following you through the process.
Right, understood.
Settings, I want to make sure that we're setting it all together.
That's what I'm doing right now with you guys.
But then you're moving fast and coming back and trying to figure out if we already set it or not.
So Jude, at any point, if you're not following,
stop me.
Just hit stop.
Okay.
Just say pause, take it again.
Yes.
And we'll rewind.
All right.
Yes.
So now,
at any point,
now we're going under settings, right? Let me know when all of you there. Somebody can just say yes. I'm on settings. If you see the same screen that I see right now.
Yeah.
All right. Automatically, it starts with general. On your left-hand side, you want to come down to networking. Click on network.
Yep.
All right. The first adapter here, it says NAT. You see how it says NAT here?
Yep.
I did the change earlier, but I did not save the changes. So it went back to the default. We have to change this NAT to bridge adapter. The reason why we're putting it to bridge adapter, that's why I was trying to give you the explanation of the reason why we're putting this to bridge adapter. So it can get network.
This concept is very, very important, Kingsley. Changing from NAT to bridge mode. You can get this in an interview.
Right.
Like, what's the difference between NAT? We know what NAT is, network address translation. And we've seen something else known as bridge mode. Why do you do NAT versus doing bridge? That is a possible question in an interview. And let me explain to you what is happening. If you want your virtual machine to get an IP address from your network, think of it like a bridge. You are opening up the bridge.
A port, yes.
To allow the virtual machine into your LAN. So your LAN, your virtual machine is gonna get an IP address from your LAN, which means it's gonna be the same IP range. It's gonna be the same network portion. The network portion of that machine is gonna be the same as any other device in your network. So you are just opening your network for that VM to pick up an IP address from your network. If you don't do NAT, then you're gonna do the other option is gonna be if you don't do bridge mode, the other option is gonna be NAT.
So just to show you what
it's gonna have its own IP address.
So just to show you what Gerard is saying, right? If you look here, this is my network adapter. I'm just looking to see the people that are getting IP address for my local network. If you look here, you see how it says VMware, and it says VMware Net 1. So this is a virtual machine that is getting IP for my main machine. That virtual machine, this is the Ethernet adapter. So this is what we're trying to do. So this machine can get network for get IP address for my main machine. If I go up, you see the other ones too. This is my local connection. If I keep going, it shows you all the adapters that are there. VirtualBox, host only network. You see how it says there? It gives you right there. It tells you, this is my Ethernet adapter right here. It has its own, this one different. This is my Wi-Fi, which is my home Wi-Fi right there. So that's just the reason why we're doing this bridge, so you can get IP address from my main machine, my main network to this virtual machine. So that one is done. We already that's the only thing we're going to change in here, just from NAT to bridge. Then now we're going to go now to storage.
Excuse me, please.
Yes.
When I change the adapter from NAT to bridge, you have an error.
What does it say?
Under name, it said not selected, and then right under is invalid setting detected. So
that's what I'm saying as well. Same thing here. Invalid settings detected.
Invalid settings?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is anybody getting that same error message too as well?
Can you I'll have Mr. Roland share his screen for a second.
Yeah, give him permission. Give him permission. Let me stop sharing so you can give him permission to.
Okay.
Give him permission so Mr. Roland can share your screen.
All right.
You're on mute, Mr. Roland, if you're saying something.
I need sharing permission.
Yeah, I think Gerard is getting you that right now.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay.
All right, I'm seeing Mr. Roland's machine. So you have the adapter set up already. All right, it's because you click OK. You're not supposed to click OK yet.
I didn't do that.
But you selected it already, right?
Yes.
No,
it's already on bridge. That's fine.
Yeah, look at this. I started with NAT, so I took the bridge adapter. So that's what I have.
All right, close all this page. Let me see something. Go back to
this one.
Yes, close it.
Kingsley, what is happening is he didn't select a network name. When you bridge, it's supposed to pick up the network name.
There you go.
So go back to settings.
Go to settings.
Okay. Now come down to network.
Click on network, yes.
Okay. Now go to NAT. Okay, go to bridge adapter. Okay, click on name because nothing is selected.
Oh,
okay,
yes,
click
yes.
on advanced.
Go to advanced.
Okay, let's see. Intel PTO.
It's supposed to be Intel dual band.
Yes, it's not picking up. Okay, then
it has to do your main connection, your wireless connection, your.
It could also be Kingsley. It could also be virtualization has not been enabled in his NIC, in his BIOS. That is a possible explanation for this error. I've seen this error before. And one of the ways of fixing it is enable virtualization in your BIOS. Some machines come with virtualization enabled in your BIOS. Some.
What operating system do you have, Mr. Roland? What operating system do you have?
Of course, it's Windows 10.
It's Windows 10. HP.
All right. Jared, can you walk him through to enable that?
Yes. It's a long process. He will need to watch a YouTube video because he has to shut off his machine. And then when the machine is booting up, you interrupt the boot up process with F10 and then you go into the BIOS. I can send him a video to watch. He's going to fix that.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, we can do that later.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, you can go ahead and stop sharing.
So anyone else who is facing this problem, you have to follow the same procedure.
So it's just, I believe it's just Mr. Roland and Mr. Jude.
Roland, just go to YouTube, check how to enable virtualization from the BIOS. Any video
on a Windows 10, yes, on a Windows 10 machine.
Yeah, but do it after class because if you do it right now, they'll tell you to power off your machine, power it on.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know,
and I believe, Mr. Jeff, you're having that same issue too as well, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you two, you follow the same procedure too.
Okay.
Anyone else is having the same issue or not? All right. Silence means everyone is good. All right, let's go back to where we ended. I just gotta hide this, minimize this. Let me open back the VirtualBox. So we were in settings and we went down to network. I changed the NAT to bridge adapter. And you see how mine already picks up automatically because I have it already. And I have 2 of them. You see how mine showed 2? But this is the one that it automatically picks up to. And then now we're gonna go now to storage. I have not clicked OK yet. I'm gonna go to storage. This is where now your ISO image, the ISO image that you guys download, this is where you're gonna insert. When I say insert, it's like you're plugging you're putting out the CD in if it was a physical machine. It's like you're putting the CD now into the DVD-ROM for it to start installing. We're trying to insert the CD right now. You're gonna click on empty. You see how there's no live, it says live CD here. You're not doing a live CD. We're doing an optical drive, which next to it, you see the CD icon right next to it, right here. You guys all see where I am, right? If I click on that CD, it's gonna show me, it says choose/create a virtual optical disk. I'm gonna do choose a disk because I already downloaded the ISO image. And you guys have to know where you save that ISO image for it to install. My ISO image, I created a folder and I save it in it called Windows 2000. If I go to my desktop, it's there, Windows 2016, Windows Server 2016. That's where I save the ISO image. These are some of the things that you call file arrangement. You arrange files on your desktop in a way that you can easily locate and browse through things, just the way you name your files. That's another thing that has to do with file system. That's filing system. We're gonna get into that tomorrow. This filing system
is gonna be in their probably be in their download folder.
Right. It might be in your download. If you go in your download, you're gonna see your download in here. But mine, I already save it in a folder in my desktop just because I want to be arranged and organized. I'll go to my Windows server, and this is the ISO image right here. I'm gonna click on it and then do open. You see how the image has loaded on here? Before here, we're seeing empty. I believe you guys are on the same page with me, right? Before here, we were seeing just empty. But now we went to the CD, we load the CD now onto that empty spot. That means we took the CD like on a physical CD and put it into a DVD-ROM. That's just what we've done here.
Jeff J, you can still do this part even though you didn't bridge.
Yes.
You can
even though you didn't bridge the network, yes. You can do this part, it's gonna work.
If you downloaded the ISO, you can still do this part.
Right. And
okay. So make sure.
So go to storage.
Go to storage right here. When you click on storage.
Yep.
On the right-hand side, all the way to the top where it says optical drive, Don't click in the drop-down menu. Click on the CD that is outside of that drop-down menu, because the drop-down menu is right here. But we're clicking on this CD. Click on that CD. It's going to say choose a disk or choose/create an optical disk. But we're doing choose a disk because we've already downloaded the ISO image and save it somewhere. And once you run that ISO image, it's going to save down here. If you want to create the same Windows 2016, you don't have to go choose a disk anymore. You can just come down here. If you know which one it is, since it's the 14 one, which is the 2016. The other one that I have right here.
I clicked on storage, Kingsley. And next you say I got to go to optical drive or what?
So if you click on the storage, right? You have to come and click. You see, you have empty here, right? If you look in here in the middle,
yes,
it says empty, right?
Yes.
Click on the empty.
Yep.
It's highlighted, right?
Yes.
Go now to this CD right here.
Yeah, I see optical drive.
All right. It says, you see these two options, right?
Live CD, DVD, and
No. If you click on that here.
What, the SATA port 1?
Next to it, there's a like a CD right there. Do you see my screen?
Let me go to your screen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you see this icon right here? Not this one.
Yes.
This one. Click on this one.
All right.
You seen it?
Yes.
What do you see in there, in that box?
I see choose/create a virtual optical disk.
And then take the second one. The second one that says choose a disk file.
This file, okay.
All right, when you click on that choose a disk file, it's going to bring you now to your, on another folder is going to pop up.
Yeah.
You want to go into your download.
Okay, yeah.
You're going to see this image right there with this same number. It says 1439 and what not. Do you see it?
No, I just see my Windows WinServe. I just
all right,
see
Gerard, give Jeff J permission so you can share his screen. Let me see your screen. I can walk you through that easily.
Jeff J, did you download the ISO?
That's what I see. I see the WinServe. I don't see those numbers that you're talking about. So I just see the WinServe, the name.
All right.
You downloaded the ISO, Jeff J, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. So go to your download folder.
That's why it says seeing just WinServe.
Yeah, that's the WinServe on my download folder.
You want to share your screen?
Yeah, Gerard, give him permission to share screen. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Can I share it right now?
Hold on.
Let me. Okay.
You're mute, Gerard.
All right, Jude, go ahead. You can share.
Okay. So,
okay. Close. Can you close that box?
Close that box. Yeah. Right. Yeah, close that one.
Okay. So click on empty. And
yeah,
then,
he's already clicked on empty. Yeah.
Okay, go to the go to the right.
Click there.
Yeah.
Right there.
Choose the second one.
So
all right, double click on there. Let's see. Double click again. No, that's not it. Go into your
downloads. He needs to select go to downloads.
Yeah, it's not there in there as well.
It's not there. So I don't
go
think
to desktop.
Downloaded.
Go to desktop. Click on desktop. Let's see. Yeah, it's not there. That means you do not download the ISO image.
Yeah, he didn't download it because it's going to be in your download folder.
Let him scroll down. Probably let him scroll way down.
Maybe your default download is not going to download. To your
go to download.
Folder.
Go to that other download. Let's see. Yes, that one. It's not in there.
Yeah.
So
because I see mobile X term, so
yes,
it shows that
it's supposed to be in here.
So the download probably didn't finish downloading or something.
Search it? Can he search it?
If you search over here, no, go up top, right side, right corner, all the way to right corner, Jeff J. All the way says search download, all the way up top. Yes. Search that this in do 14. I think it's 14 point. Let me see that file name.
Just type Windows.
It's not gonna come up like that because it was not. Let me see, desktop.
Let him go to the regular window on the bottom corner and search it from there. That way it will pop up whatever's on your system.
Yeah, do that, Jeff J. Go to your search bar on your computer, the taskbar.
Yeah, so what do I have to type?
Just type 143.993. 143.93.0. Yeah, it's not in there. It's not. You see how it's showing you from the web, but it's not there.
That's what I see here.
That's okay. I mean, it looks like you did not download it. So yeah. If you can go to the shared drive in the class. We put it on there. We put it on there. You can download the image from there. But I'll go forward from the step. I mean, if you run into any issue
Jeff J, if you have time after class, I can walk you through the download process,
right.
And we can go through this process again, one-on-one.
All right,
is that fine?
All right, appreciate it.
All right,
no problem, bro.
If you can stop sharing, so let me continue.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll continue sharing. Let's keep on going. So now we have the ISO image already in there. The ISO image now is in there. We've loaded the ISO image now on this machine. Now we're going to take OK. You're going to hit OK. It saved it. Now this machine now is ready now to be boot up. And once we boot up this machine, it's going to load with that CD that we just inserted. So if we're going to have to start. You're going to highlight on here, then you hit start. You wait for the machine to boot up. When you hit start, it's just going to keep loading and wait for it. It's going to pop up. So now it's just giving me a message, which is okay. It's just telling me the disk says this disk should be suitable for so this that. That's not what we want. I already have the image on there. If you see this,
don't go so fast because not all our computers are that fast. I'm using
no, I'm not going so fast. I'm not going yet.
Okay.
I'm still waiting for you guys to give me a go ahead. I'm just telling you about this error message. So I'm just gonna hit cancel. If you see this on yours, just hit cancel.
I think we've gone way past time today. I don't know if we should just complete it or want to take.
You guys want to complete or
and finish tomorrow? You guys call it.
You guys have the call. Go ahead.
I have to drop up until 12:45.
What was that?
So we leave it here and finish it tomorrow, or what do you guys want?
Yes, it's been 4 hours.
Okay, so we'll continue tomorrow on this. All right.
Okay. Yeah, because I see Emeka already taking a nap and all that, so
yes.
I know you guys are tired.
Maybe you can just tell us the remaining steps to do, and then we can do it.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna end class right now, but anyone want to hang around, I'm gonna be around to take anyone throughout this process because I have an appointment with Jude. So
you can hang around and watch it as well.
And I walk you through the entire process. But we're gonna end now and continue tomorrow. Is that okay?
Can you add me to the appointment with Jude?
Yes, the appointment is starting right now with Jude. But I'm waiting for Jude to send his fee of $100 before we start.
Consultation fee.
All right, guys, let's continue tomorrow. Thanks so much for hanging around. If you still have extra half an hour to spare, I'll be around. I know Kingsley has a funeral to attend and people have different things to do. So I really appreciate you guys. I know the first time to install this is gonna be, there's gonna be